It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of April 11, 2017 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can we get roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones. Ms. Posito. Mr. Grow. Mr. Melvin. Mr. Bourgeois.
Here.
Mr. Perilou.
Here.
Mr. Oten. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine. And Mr. Cantrell.
All right, if everyone please rise, we have an invocation led by Mr. Michael Grow and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Armin Nooney Otan.
First, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Ms. Colleen's stepmother, Mary Frances Bourgeois, who passed away this week. Please keep Ms. Colleen in your hands and pray. Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect our future parents. We ask it in your name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody could please stand, I think we need to do a moment of silence. We lost our parish, Lafourche Parish, voter registration, Miss Mary Ducey. So if y'all give her a moment of silence, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we have a busy meeting tonight, so we're going to move right along. Section A, approval of minutes. Can we get a motion to accept the minutes from March 28, 2017's regular session? Mr. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Please be a little more vocal with your votes. Next section, proclamations. Number 2, Parish President James Cantrell to present a proclamation proclaiming the month of April as Fair Housing Month. Mr. Cantrell.
I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas the strength of our nation flows from the promise of individual equality and freedom of choice, and whereas the 49th anniversary of the National Fair Housing Law, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 during the month of April is an occasion for all Americans, both individually and collectively, to rededicate themselves to the principle of freedom from housing discrimination wherever it exists. The law guaranteed for each citizen that critical personal element of freedom of choice selection of the home, and whereas a fair housing law has been passed by the state of Louisiana, and implementation of that law requires the positive commitment, involvement, and support of all our citizens, and whereas the department and agencies of the state of Louisiana are to provide leadership in the effort to make fair housing not just an idea, but an ideal for all our citizens, and whereas barriers that diminish the rights and limit the options of any citizen will ultimately diminish the rights and limit the options of all. Now therefore, I, James B. Cantrell, President of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on behalf of Lafourche Parish, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2017 as Fair Housing Month in Lafourche Parish, and do hereby encourage all citizens to abide by the letter and spirit of the Fair Housing Law, and as the citizens of Lafourche Parish to join in reaffirming the obligation and commitment in fair housing opportunities for all. And witnesses thereof, I do hereby set my signature and have cause to be affixed the official seal of the Parish of Louisiana, State of Louisiana, on this 11th day of April 2017. James B. Cantrell.
All right, so nobody can receive it. Moving right along. Section C, presentations and our updates. Parish President James B. Cantrell to present an Employee of the Month award, WOW Awards for the month of March.
We have 6 WOW recipients and 1 Employee of the Month. The first, Ms. Gwendolyn Chasson. She's a Teacher 1 for the Head Start site in Thibodaux. Comments for a nomination? Ms. Gwen goes the extra mile always. She is very warm and considerate towards others. She is always willing to assist anyone in need. She is very committed to her work as a teacher. She has been employed with the Head Start program for 14 years. She will complete her day as a teacher, then jump on the bus as monitor when needed. She is a true asset to this program. Number 2 is Amanda Voisin, is the CZM administrator. Miss Amanda Voisin. She's the CZM Administrator for the Coastal Zone Management Department, Matthews. Here's the comment. Amanda is a behind-the-scenes employee that does an excellent job. She has been a key player in assisting with funding for the Barataria Marsh Creation and Ridge Restoration Project, along with many other projects for Coastal Zone Management. She is committed to serving the Lafourche Parish government, and we are lucky to have someone like her. Ms. Wozniak. Mr. Wayne Bruce. Mr. Bruce is an equipment operator, 3, assistant supervisor for the Galliana field office. The comments, Wayne is a hard worker who fully devotes himself to his job. He always helps out anyone in need, handles himself professionally with the public, and works extremely well with all his co-workers. He takes pride on his work and gives 100% to everything he does. He has been working at Golden Meadow Field Office for 3 years and has definitely made a lasting impact. Elias Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, equipment operator 2 for the Galliana field office. The comments, great, hard work, and dependable. All words that explain Elias. He is always on time for work, eager to get going in the morning, and takes pride in everything he does. Elias is well liked and walks around always with a smile on his face. He has been here 5 years, and I surely hope there are many, many more years to come. Mr. Kirk Squirt Robichaud. Mr. Robichaud is equipment operator 1 for the Galliana field office. The comments, Kirk has worked at Galliana field office for 2 years. He is a great person with a positive attitude. He is the one that when jobs come up, people ask to work with. He makes any job fun by laughing and joking, but always stays focused on the job at hand. When he does a job, it always is to be the best of his ability and gives 110% to everything he does. He is a great asset to the Lafourche Parish government. Ms. Celeste Rebstock. Ms. Rebstock is a nursing assistant at the Galliana Health Unit. Comments are, Celeste has been in our office for nearly 3 years and has made such a difference. She transformed our record system in the lab and set up all our exam rooms in a way that we can see patients quicker and more efficiently. She truly cares for our patient and ensures in her work. She has truly made our team complete. Wow. Finally, the Employee of the Month, Nanette Lazard. Nanette has been with Community Action for over 8 years. She is a community outreach worker for Community Action in Galliana. Comments for a nomination. I just received a phone call from Ms. Rebecca Fonseca, who received guidance and assistance from Nanette on March 6th. She got very emotional on the phone with me with a praise of how Nanette did her job. She said that she's never had to seek any type of assistance, but due to her husband losing his job, she had to now. She wasn't sure how to do anything to get the assistance she needed. Nanette recognized her nerves and made Ms. Fonseca comfortable. Ms. Fonseca said that Nanette sat her down, held her hand, listened to all of her concerns, explained everything to her, and wrote things down for Ms. Fonseca to relate to her husband. Nanette got her the information she needed in order to pay her electric bill as well as get food and other necessities.
Was that it, Tommy?
That's it.
All right, congratulations to all of you guys. I mean, it's always awesome to see great work being rewarded. Ms. Posito, you have something?
Yeah, I just want to echo that, Mr. Cantrell, I'm not sure what happened this month, but I sure appreciate seeing our great employees acknowledged for their hard work. Thank you for that.
Mr. Melvin?
I think it's fresh to hear the amount of new employees that have been here 3 years, 5 years, 10 years maybe, just making a difference in our parish, so thank you.
All right, that being said, moving on to item number 4, Mr. Timothy Allen, the CEO, and Mr. Leonard St. Pierre, Chairman of Ochsner St. Anne Lafourche Hospital Service District Number 2 Board to present an annual report.
I need to state my name, my address. My name is Tim Allen. I live at 239 Rue Chateau in Thibodaux, Louisiana. I appreciate you affording me time on your busy agenda tonight. Once again, I'm here to share the results on our annual report from the exceptional health care that we continue to provide in the region. We have a long, rich history, 50 years actually this year, that St. Anne has been in existence. I believe you actually have a copy of the report that I'll be covering in front of you. I'm going to just cover a few of the highlights. Our commitment remains and apparent through our 382 dedicated staff members. We have 323 total providers, 20 of which are locally based, and we cover about 20 different specialties. This year, we continue to enhance the access and the experience of our patients. Over 31,000 patients trust us with their care. We had significant increases in our access, over 60,000 clinic visits, which is a 21% increase year over year. Our emergency department visits increased by over 6%, and we were able to bring a number of wonderful new lives into the parish, 355 births, which was an 8.7% increase. We are very proud of some of the enhancements that we continue to make in our emergency department. Our physicians see patients on the average from when you walk in the door to our emergency department to when you see a physician in 6 minutes in 2016. I think that's going to be very hard to beat, not only, as we know, very hard to beat, not only in the region but in the nation. We also are very proud of the fact that one of the national problems in emergency departments is patients wait a long time before they're seen, oftentimes leaving. The national target's 3%. We actually have less than 1% at 0.2% of our patients that left without being seen. We continue to focus on our caregivers, our staff engagement, which is a very deep connection between our employees and what we do and why we do it, ranks in the top 5% of the hospitals across the nation. Our staff perception of our quality and our safety ranks in the top 10% of hospitals nationally, and we do a survey on that every year. In terms of patients' perception of our care, we ended 2016 in the top 10% of hospitals nationally for inpatients, top 5% of emergency departments nationally, top 20% of clinics nationally, and the top 10% of hospitals on the outpatient side. We also received a couple of national awards in recognition of that. We remain committed through the generous support of the community and the millage that we receive to the health and wellness of our community. And we touched the lives of over 5,500 Lafourche residents this past year through community health screenings, over 3,000 of those provided. We were able to identify a number of individuals that had elevated blood pressures and blood sugar levels. We performed over 650 flu shots. We also did a number of community education programs and partnered with 26 different community organizations and businesses to provide those programs, as well as providing services, smoking cessation classes to over 310 participants this past year. We also have a number of very dedicated employees that volunteer their time outside of their work. There were 145 volunteer staff members that contributed 1,300 volunteer hours to the community, spanning 22 different community organizations. In terms of economic impact that we continue to have on the region, when you consider the salaries and benefits paid to our staff and our providers, the economic impact was over $111 million in economic benefit. We're the only hospital service district in the parish that actually pays taxes, and we paid $239,000 in parish and state taxes this past year. We also support vendors and suppliers in the area and paid out over $2.8 million in services and goods to locally based or regionally based vendors. And we also maintained our commitment to the underserved in the region, being charity care and Medicaid. That's unsurpassed by other providers. That totaled $19.6 million in services, which was a 3% increase year over year. And lastly, I wanted to highlight an award that we were really pleased to receive, or an acknowledgement. We're ranked number 23 in best in terms of emergency department times. That meaning, again, as I mentioned before, the time from when you walk in the door to when you're seen by a physician. and that's 23 in the nation out of over 5,500 hospitals. So we were very pleased to receive that acknowledgement, and we were actually asked by the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services to speak at a national conference to share how we were able to accomplish that. So I'm pleased to take any questions that you might have.
We appreciate you coming out, Mr. Allen, and giving us an update. Every year it just gets better and better. You guys are doing something right over there. I'm a patient of the VA system, so you know, and they take pretty good care of people. But whenever they can't see patients locally here for a while, they give you the option to go out into the community and pick a location. And I always pick St. Anne to go, you know, with whether it be MRIs or anything like that. I always select St. Anne because you guys take such good care of us. Anyone else have any comments, Ms. Esposito?
Hi, if I remember correctly, last year it was 15 minutes that you would see a doctor in an emergency room. Is that correct? Now it's 6 minutes?
Correct.
Wow. Is that because of that new hire Six Sigma black belt that you guys took from Thibodeau Hospital?
Well,
That's
we
a big
actually
improvement.
achieved that before that individual joined us. But
Okay.
thanks for acknowledging
But
that
she's
improvement.
incredible, yeah. But that's
I agree.
amazing. That's a huge improvement.
Absolutely.
I mean, 15 minutes for me to remember that after a year.
It was already impressive.
Right.
Right.
I wish I knew how you did that, but just keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions, comments for Mr. Allen? Being none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. St. Pierre. All right, we're moving on to Section D, Engineers, Architect Reports. Any tonight? Wow, it's looking up. Section E, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers Reports, Presentations, and/or Updates. Ms. Amanda Voisin, are you prepared to give it a go tonight? I know it's been deferred for a couple of meetings, and we still don't have the overhead, but you did prepare us a packet.
The package should be in front of you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Sorry, Amanda Voisin, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. I wanted to do the presentation because I had some really good video of the terraces the dredges out there working on the terraces, but we'll make do with the packets. So I work for the Coastal Zone Management Office, and I just want to kind of give y'all an update on what's been done in the past, what's been going on right now, and what we have coming up. So the first page, we have quite a few terracing projects going on in the parish right now that have been completed, and we have 2 that are going on. They're almost done construction right now. We have the Restore Act funding. We were awarded the grants from the Department of Treasury that y'all accepted last meeting, and those are the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction and the Barataria Marsh Creation and Ridge Restoration projects. We're also going through another round of the QIPR process. In March, we had the coast-wide vote in which the federal agencies and the parishes in the coastal zone boundary, they all vote on this, and we had 3 projects selected, which is really good. And that's the East Bayou Lafourche Marsh Creation, the West LA Highway 1 Marsh Creation, and the East Catfish Lake Marsh Creation and Terracing. We'll talk about that in a little while, and then I'll let y'all know what's going on in our local coastal program, which is the coastal use permits and stuff like that. So the first terracing project, this is actually the first terracing project that started in 2013, and they've worked on this in different phases. This is a partnership between ConocoPhillips, Lafourche Parish, and Ducks Unlimited. Right now, there was some additional funding, and they're out there working, creating more terraces in the Bayou Lafourche area, and I think they're done with the terracing. They're doing the plantings right now, so that should be done on the 21st, on or around. The next one is Island Road Terracing. This is both in Terrebonne and Lafourche. The picture here is on the Lafourche side, and if you see kind of in the distance, there's actually a marsh buggy working right there. This one is also slated to be completed on April 21st. Through additional funding, we were able to create more terracing out there. The next one is Golden Meadow Terracing. This one is kind of halfway between Golden Meadow and Pointe-aux-Chenes. this was completed August of 2016. And if you see under each little chart, it shows how many linear feet for each project. The next one is Bayou Monet terracing. This one, they are out there working right now. This is along the South Lafourche levee, kind of northeast of Catfish Lake. They finished up the terracing work, so and they're doing the planning right now, and it should be completely done on the 21st. And there's actually going to be a phase 2 coming out in the area in the near future, and that funding has been secured. And so just to give you all a little update on what terracing is, rather than big marsh creation cells, what they do is dredge and build up these little linear earthen mounds almost. And what it does is kind of break up the wave action, kind of causes the submerged aquatic vegetation to build up in between each terrace. And the Bayou Lourdes is the oldest one, and from what we've seen, it's been really successful at doing what it's been put there to do. So the next page, kind of to sum it all up, which I think is amazing. Between 2013 and now, 22 miles of 22 miles of terraces have been constructed, which is, when you put it like that, makes you really feel good about these smaller projects and what they're doing for the parish. And that picture, I included it because I thought it was a really cool picture. All those pelicans are on one of the terraces that we built. So that was kind of neat to see that. The next project we have coming up, it's going to be probably kicked off later this, probably around fall timeline, is the Gold Meadow Marsh creation. This is kind of in the same area as those Bayou Monet terraces. It's going to create approximately 40 acres and nourishing 30 acres. And if you look on the next page, you can kind of get you can see where that marsh creation is going to be put at, and where the borrow area that the material is coming from is located. Please stop me anytime if you have any questions. When the next page, what we're working on right now, and it's really something that's going to be picking up in the near future, is our Restore Act funding. So this is, and I kind of wanted to put this breakdown just so y'all can kind of become familiar with what pot of money we're talking about, because there's several with the BP dollars. This is the direct component money. This is, so Lafourche Parish directly gets a portion, not directly because we have to go through the grant process with the Department of Treasury, but we get allocated money through this pot to do the projects in our multi-year implementation plan. And those are the 5 projects that the council approved in 2015. And to break down the funding, right now for Lafourche Parish, we have about $1.5 million now that we can use towards those multi-year implementation projects. I kind of broke down what each settlement amount has, we have right now, and then the BP payment, the big payment, we're going to be getting payments over the next 15 years. At the end of year 15, we should have about $8.7 million of the big payment for Lafourche Parish. And the next slide kind of gives y'all a breakdown of the process that the parish has gone through. Council approved plan in 2015, and the Department of Treasury approved the plan. One thing we should be proud of as a parish is that we were the 6th parish to have an approved multi-year implementation plan, and that's out of 20 parishes. So we're really ahead of the game, and that puts us in a good position for leveraging money in the future, and I think that's just something we should be proud of. We put out the request for qualifications for the 2 projects, the Barataria Marsh Creation and the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction, and we submitted the grant application. Those grants were awarded, which y'all accepted last council meeting. The next two slides kind of just give a little breakdown of, or a summary of what these two projects are. The Grand Bayou is essentially putting fresh water into the area along Grand Bayou Canal, kind of south of Highway 24. And the next one is the Barataria Marsh Creation and Ridge Restoration. This area is targeted mainly because there's not a lot going on around this area for restoration efforts, just because it's kind of isolated. You know, we're not near the Gulf of Mexico in this area. We're not near the Atchafalaya or the Mississippi. So this project was designed to kind of have the long distance sediment pipeline come over to this area. It's not in the master plan as of yet. We'll see how the final, if it's in the final one. But what we're going to work to achieve is to find some sediment source to get something in this area. I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what we should be aiming for. Through QIPRA, the Coastal Wetlands Planning, Protection, and Restoration Act, each year they reset it and new projects are able to be nominated. 3 of these projects for Lafourche have been selected, and what that means is at the Spring Technical Committee meeting, these will be voted on to possibly 10 projects are selected to be evaluated further, and at the end of the year, we have the potential to receive funding for engineering and design for these projects. And as that if any or all of these projects go forward, that'll lead to construction dollars. So our local coastal program, which we work with the Louisiana Department of Natural Resources. This is those coastal use permits. To date, from January, we've had 43 total coastal use permit applications, 6 of those local, 37 of state. I think it's a really good indicator, the amount of coastal use permits we receive. If things are picking up, we get more. When things are down, we see less. And whenever, over the last couple of years, we really haven't seen a lot of coastal use permits. We usually, you know, when I started here, like in 2012, we were getting so many oil and gas permits. When things were up, as things decreased, we weren't seeing as many. So it's actually starting to pick up, which I see as a good sign. And also we have advisory board meetings at third Tuesday of every month. Our next meeting is next Tuesday if y'all want to come check it out. But that's all I got. If y'all have any questions.
Mr. Grow?
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
I had one about the candidates for the Spring Technical Committee meeting. You mentioned that y'all submitted 3 projects and they choose 10. How many do you expect will be in that?
Okay, so
file?
let me, so actually for Lafourche, I think we had 7 or 8 nominated. All the parishes, you can nominate as many parishes, you need a federal sponsor. So EPA, NOAA, Fish and Wildlife Service, or NRCS have to nominate a project. So it's a lot of projects that are nominated.
But it's all coastal parishes.
It's
pretty
all
much
coastal
compete.
parishes. And then for the coast-wide vote, I believe it's 21 or 22 that are selected throughout the entire coast. We got 3, which is good, really good. And so now we have, that'll be narrowed, that 21 or 22 is narrowed down to 10 at the Spring Technical Committee, and that's when I go to the meetings, I speak for Lafourche Parish and make our argument of why these projects should be selected. And we've had, every year we have at least one go through.
So you're lobbying for Lafourche? That's awesome. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Ms. Posito?
it's part of the job.
Just real quick, terraces, did we just start that in 2013? Or
Yes. So that's kind of when these public-private partnerships kind of started. Ducks Unlimited actually has gotten the NAWCA grants, so North American Wetlands and Conservation, or I don't quite know the acronym off the top of my head, but they go after these grants, and essentially ConocoPhillips and Lafourche Parish has been fortunate enough to put up money and make these projects happen.
But it's a process that's been used elsewhere successfully?
I believe, I'd have to check on that. I'm not sure of the exact
Okay.
locations. I know that they have, there
just
have
wondering
been
if
other
it-
projects, and they have, like, going through QIPRA, their put in those project plans as well, or the nominations as well. So they're included, and they're a well-known kind of restoration technique, I guess
Okay.
you could call it. So
Okay. I hadn't heard of it till tonight, so
yeah.
thank you.
Is finding sediment normally a challenge when you're building these things?
The terraces? No, you just have to have the right conditions. So you have to have relatively shallow water depth. So, and then you actually just dredge right next to it and pile on top. So you don't actually have to go a long way.
Okay, because I saw one of the pictures had like sediment location. It looked like it was a good ways away from the actual.
That's the marsh creation. So those are bigger cells of straight marsh creation, land building. When you need big sediment sources like that, then yeah, you'd have to look for kind of, deeper, generally open water areas.
Okay.
That's not going to make a big dent, and it'll fill in over time and whatnot.
Okay, because my buddy Chris Grabbear, a lot of y'all probably know him as Beck. He had a great idea. He said, you know how we have all these pipelines running oil back and forth from the Gulf? He said, we need to make a pipeline from here to Arizona. We'll pump our excess water to them, and they can pump sand back to us. And,
Sounds like a
we could
plan.
build up our land. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, on that Bayou Moni project, that's right above Golometa somewhere. How did the equipment get in there?
They go. I'll show you. I have to show you the access route. They took a very long way.
Did they got there by barge or not?
Actually, for Bayou, I think they actually walked those over the levee, if I remember. So, I think there was a little change
'Cause
at the end. I'll have to check.
If you look at the picture, it looks real good. But if they're coming with that equipment and they're going through all that,
No,
so
they
they're
actually
destroying everything that they're doing.
they take it in by barge through like deeper access routes, and then they unload it at the site. Is what they typically do.
But that excavator or that marsh buggy deal, does he just track out there? over
No,
everything?
they get close to the site and then unload there with the marsh buggy. So the marsh
okay.
buggy isn't actually like
Yeah,
going
'cause-
through the marsh.
Looking at the picture,
I have to remember which one they're running over the levee. It's either this one or the Golden Meadow Marsh creation that's coming up. But either way, they float it in with a barge and then unload near
and
the
that
site.
funding came from where?
Bayou Monet was a NALCA grant, so we put up 100,000. ConocoPhillips put up money, and then the other was through the grant.
So on these Ducks Unlimited projects, y'all control that after we vote on it?
What, by control, I mean, all
Well,
the bid, I
see that
mean,
it
since
gets
the grant
done
is
or
coming.
whatever.
Yeah, since the grant, comes through then, I mean, they take care of putting out the bids and whatnot. And getting the contractors out there,
And
they
one more
do that
question, how
part.
many times have you used the airboat?
Like twice. But,
Twice?
I mean, I was on pregnancy leave I was super pregnant last year, so I wasn't in a condition to use the airboat.
So you used it twice, because I think it was really bought for a toy, not on your behalf, but for you.
I mean,
Okay,
I can't
thank
speak
you.
to that, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that any further?
Being pregnant?
No.
No.
On the airboat being bought as a toy?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, actually, we just took it out a couple weeks ago, and it's actually, we went and check out these projects, and it's, I mean, it's good to
serves a
have.
good purpose
It
for you,
does,
right?
for sure.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Mr.
on behalf of the airboat, I just want to say the airboat was a much-needed thing.
I think so.
Because just for the Baton Rouge flood, between the airboat and the Chack Bay Volunteer Fire Department, we saved 500 lives.
We thank you for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
And congratulations on your super pregnancy and delivery.
Well, I wasn't going to go out on a boat like that. So.
All right, no more questions. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation.
All right, thanks.
We're moving right along to Section F, questions for the administration.
Wait, we got James Barnes.
Yeah, but he's deferring, right? You're deferring because of the overhead. I could have mentioned that. My apologies.
Deferred to next.
So Section F, questions for the administration. Mr. Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Director. For the project manager and PIO position, where's the funds coming from?
I'm sorry, which two?
You advertised for a job, two jobs, project manager and PIO. Where are the funds coming from?
The PIO, it's my understanding that that's going to come from the abolished communications department. The project manager was informed that they were going to take it from a position from Public Works that was not going to be filled.
How much money is there for those positions?
Exact amounts, I don't know. I believe Public Works, we were anticipating taking 20, and the Communications Department, I think, abolishing that department, I think we're around 60 to 80. I can't remember right off the top of my head. I can get the exact numbers for you, but that would be including the salaries and the benefits.
So those funds, they are allocated for those two positions?
The Communications Department was allocated, obviously, for the Communications Department. The other was, it was for salaries, but not for that.
So to move these funds, wouldn't you need a transfer appropriation or a supplemental appropriation?
That question was raised, and therefore we did reach out to Stagney and the DA for an opinion.
What answer did you get?
Initially, we were told that, yes, it looks like we can proceed in that manner, but being that that is brought up in the agenda tonight, we decided to wait and proceed from the request of the council. I believe it was you, Mr. Jones, that requested it.
Okay.
So we decided to hold off on taking any action until we get, proper.
And to clear things up, if you'd have took it out of communication, which we abolished that position, what would you show for your fund balance?
For communications?
Yeah.
Whatever was left in it other than payroll, I'm sure they had travel monies. I'm sure there's other monies in it other than for salaries.
But if you was taking it, how would you show at the end of the year that this council voted on a transfer appropriation showing a zero balance?
That's why we're reaching out to the DA and
Okay, thank you. You
Stagnant.
answered the question.
Thank you.
That's why I asked, because you have to come before the council for a transfer appropriation. So keep that in mind, council.
Okay, I do have a question for the administration. It's involving Josh as the Emergency Homeland Security Director. Josh, Ms. Carleen, was it? I think it was like last month or so. The council passed a resolution to fund security for the metal detector and someone from the Sheriff's Department to man it. I guess it's on a part-time basis. And we also asked the administration to enter a contract with the Sheriff's Department for us to facilitate that agreement, since the council, we can't enter into a contract such as that. Can you give me an update on that and see where we're at, see how much longer it'll be before we get the security back up?
Josh Champagne, Director of Homeland Security. Since our conversation, I had an opportunity to speak to Ms. Guidry at the Sheriff's Office. And once we can finalize exactly how many people you're going to want, the hours and stuff like that, we can put the MOU, if you want to call it, together, present it to you guys, and have our legal look at it also to make sure everything's in compliance, and then the sheriff would have to, agree on it and stuff like that. So we are working on it. I'll get with you first thing tomorrow morning on it to make sure all the small things are fixed, and we'll start putting it all together for you.
I appreciate
We're
it.
looking at about $3,000, give or take, a year to be able to cover it. So
Okay.
it's not a big expense to be able to do it.
And I think only one deputy to run the
That's,
the
yeah,
machine.
just to make sure those
with-
things all finalized, and, any special meetings, that way you'll have a little extra and stuff like that. Because what I did when I gave you the numbers, I think I based it off of our, twice a month meetings and stuff like that. So I know we had some specials and stuff like that.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mr. Grow?
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
let's not have sidebar meetings, please.
With the grants and economic development department being abolished, it asks for, what's the plan moving forward? And then I also, I sent another email asking about, if we can look into a professional services type contract, commission-based for somebody, if they bring it in actual money, we'd be able to put a figure of it on it. Please look into that and get back with me on that, please.
All right, no more questions for the administration. Ms. Esposito?
The speed humps for LaRousse Lane, any movement on that? Any decisions on that, I should say?
No, not as yet, but I'm working on it. And I think you have to, first of all, submit it, the process to the sheriff's office. And
I started that process,
Okay,
but
good.
the Cortez has asked if you could amend the contract, the lease agreement.
Well, I'll have to
That's
get
what
with
I had
the DA.
presented to you,
Yeah, well, I'll have to get with the DA and look at it with him.
and you haven't done
No, I
anything yet on
haven't
that?
I haven't had a chance yet. I'm working on other things too.
Okay.
I know I've had a few calls for speed limiting devices, as they're professionally called, speed bumps, speed humps. And it confuses me that in the parish, we use these plastic things that have the bolts. You have to bolt them down. They may look good. I know eventually they might pop a few tires. Does anybody know whatever happened to when laying a strip of asphalt, which was dirt cheap, just to lay a little strip for a bump? Because these other things are costing money, and I don't know what or who company, or is it the other end of this plastic speed bump, speed hump thing, but it just seems so simple. Whether it's plastic or asphalt, which is a lot cheaper, it's going to slow you down. Whether people want them or not, I understand there's a process through the sheriff, and I'm all for that. That's fine, because some people like them, some people don't. But Mr. Jim, if you could look into that too, I'd appreciate it, just to figure out. And look, if it saves the parish money, that's a good thing.
Well, I'm for that. I can
Yes, sir.
guarantee
Thank you.
that.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, Ms. Posito, was that reinstalled or new speed bump?
It was a reinstall, just like all of the other parish streets have them reinstalled after maintenance is done. For some reason, this 11-foot wide, 170-foot long lane that requires 3 speed humps, it's now an ordeal. So I'm hoping Sheriff Weber will help me. He's very much concerned with the parish, the safety of its residents. So I'm just going to the sheriff at this point. I can't let them be in my constituents be in danger on that narrow lane any longer than I have to.
Yeah, I went look at that road because I had a call. But they overlaid that road and had speed bumps before. So the speed bump should have been replaced. And I don't understand why I have to go to the sheriff department.
That's
if
been
the
my...
speed bumps was there
that's been-
before.
And if we look at a street like West 217, I'm not sure if that's in Councilman LaFont or Lorraine's district, that street has no paperwork on it, and yet those speed humps were put back down. I just feel like, the safety of our residents needs to supersede everything else that's going on in this parish. So I'm hoping I can get some help with the sheriff.
Who's the authority on replacing speed bumps for the parish? Is it your call, Mr. Jimmy, or?
No, sir, it's not my call, it's the sheriff's department. It's a process they go through. It's a process.
Not a reinstall.
Well, there was never no paperwork found on those 3.
So
I
West
think James-
217.
Excuse me, I think James,
Shouldn't it be grandfathered in, though, to put them back
That's
if
what's
they were
happened in the
taken up?
past.
Well, I have not been able to find no paperwork, but the way it is, on the other streets when they rehabbed, if it had speed bumps on it, we put the speed bumps back. And
So what's the problem with this one?
I'm just saying, I don't have an ordinance. I have a whole stack of ordinances that I gotta go through. But I will be checking every street in the parish that's been rehabbed and that has speed bumps to make sure all the paperwork is done. And also, the asphalt speed bumps are much better than the rubberized.
And Mr. Barnes, West 217, that, I know you and Ms. Carleen both looked into paperwork on that street. We could find none, is that correct?
I hadn't found any yet.
So are those speed humps pulled up now that we realize they've been done I don't know if it's illegally is the word, or incorrectly, or inappropriately, or whatever the term is. Are those pulled up now on West 217?
No, they're not pulled up. Like I say, I still have a lot more ordinances to go through. We have a lot of streets in the parish, but I hadn't went through all of them.
But there is none on West 217 to your knowledge?
I hadn't found no paperwork yet.
Okay. And Ms. Carleen doesn't either, is that correct? Right.
Mr. Grow.
Okay, just to be clear, the sheriff came here and talked about speed bumps. There's no program right now with the sheriff's office where we each pitch in money. There's no program for speed bumps in the parish right now.
There is.
But for replacements, but there's none for new.
There is.
I don't think so.
He
No funding for it.
came to ask for 50%.
He would match it with.
Matching contributions.
There's no program right now.
Has that program been suspended? Does anyone know in the back?
That's what was said about Sheriff Weber in the meeting. I mean, I remember it. I mean, I remember what I heard. There's no program right now, but we're talking about two different things. I just want to make sure this is a reinstall we're talking about, not can I get a speed bump in front of my.
And it's a reinstall on a road that's leased to the parish. That's,
Just making sure we're clear that it's my understanding from what the sheriff said in his report last year, there's no program right now. So I don't get calls about speed bumps because people are going fast down the street. There's no program right now.
Michael, I believe there is a program.
It's not funded.
Right. They can apply for it. The funding might not be there to contribute to all of the requests, but they can go through the motions to request it. It's a whole process where you have to go down the street and get all the neighbors to sign off on it, then they have to monitor the street and speeds, and it's a process. So anybody can go to the sheriff's department and request that process to be initiated.
But for a reinstall, you should.
For a reinstall.
But luckily, I've started working on that for my residents, and I'll spend a great deal of time in Kramer this weekend explaining to them exactly what went down with this situation. Residents shouldn't be put in this sort of danger.
I, as well as Mr. Jones, went and visited that street, and there's like 4 or 5 houses, and all the houses are inhabited by elderly citizens that's been there forever. I mean, they're like 80 years old, and their grandkids come on the weekends when these guys are pulling these big boats through there, and it's dangerous. They're begging the parish to put speed bumps back so they can protect their families. I don't see what the big problem is with that. I think y'all need to go over there and explain to them why they can't have it. Mr. LaFont.
Mr. Lorraine had his on.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, all you got to do is look at ordinance number 4432, and it tells you everything about the speed humps, 4432. And getting back to West 217, that happens to be my district. That was the 2nd street with speed humps in my district. Evidently, whoever stole the tapes stole my ordinance in the vault.
And online.
What else can I say?
Maybe so.
And if Miss Lucy wants to go pull them up, I advise you to go. And let's see what them people are going to do. Maybe you can go get mine and bring them to yours.
I wouldn't put your residents in danger either. That was a joke.
Well, the only thing I could
Councilman
figure,
Mulroney.
if I got the paperwork, maybe we can get the paperwork with the sheriff, because I guarantee you he's got it, because it was the 2nd one. And then evidently the paperwork got stolen. That's all I could say. Whoever grabbed the tapes in the vault, grabbed my ordinance.
Mr. LaFont.
So we voted on as a council that to reinstate the ordinance Daniel has in his hand, 4432. So there is a program. Funding can come from road sales tax money because it deals with the roads. However, I'm going to keep a list for y'all and everybody that wants speed bumps, because whenever y'all ask to fix the holes in the street, I'm going to tell you there's no need to fix the holes in the street because they become free speed bumps. Just to let y'all know.
That
So
don't
when
make sense,
When y'all
Joe.
residents complain about holes in the street, just tell them that's their speed bumps.
Mr. Melvin.
Just real quick, back to cost. If this is a funding thing, and I remember when the sheriff came, wanted to do a 50-50 split, we were all very new then. If it comes down to funding, I would like for someone to, in the administration, to research these contracts with these plastic speed bumps versus a strip of asphalt to me, if cost is an issue, a strip of asphalt is a whole lot cheaper than screwing something down to the road and it comes from some company in Timbuktu. Thank you.
The plastic ones average $2,500 a piece. The asphalt strips average $300 a piece. That's what the cost is. Mr. LaFont.
Mr. Chairman, the last couple we've done, Mr. Barnes, he's did them in blacktop and asphalt. We stopped using those, and he started using the asphalt because the plastic ones, he said, and behind LCO, they popped out 4 or 5 tires. So we slowly pulling them out, and he has replaced them with. He's done a really good job at it. He even got it to the height. At first, they were too high. He had to go back, scrape them, but he did do a good job. Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Section G, council reports, presentations, updates, and or questions. Session 1, being none. Moving right along to Section H, legal advisor report. Being none. Moving along to Section I, public wishing to address the council. Ms. Carleen.
Mr. Doug Sherman, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Sherman, please remember you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Doug Sherman, P.O. Box 512, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, 70357. Mr. Chairman, members of council, Mr. President, I just wanted to inform you that I am now working with the Attorney General's office as a field rep for him for Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. Charles, and St. Mary parishes. You all know me very well, and if we can be of any assistance to the council or to the President in any form or fashion, give me a call.
You have a question, Jerry?
No.
Bo? I want to congratulate you on your new job. I'm sure you're a lot happier than where you were before.
I was able to facilitate a meeting with Attorney General Landry and Mr. Perilou about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And if we can be of any assistance to you in any matter, you know where to find me.
We appreciate that, Doug.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Congratulations,
Ms.
Doug.
Lucy.
Thank you.
Always great to see you moving on to bigger and better things.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Ray Ordon. Remember to state your name and address for the record, Mr. Ordon. Thank you. You're welcome.
Ray Ordon, 120 Mia Drive, Gray, Louisiana. I'd like to just do this. It's like running a marathon, you know, and when you finish, I'm 90 years old, so that's a hard thing to do, raise your hand in victory. But I was here a couple of years ago, and I was very violent. I created quite a stir here. I was even invited to meet somebody on the outside. And so tonight I took a pain pill. I'm going to be very nice, and it would not take me but a couple of minutes to say what I have to say. I've been trying to get here since November last year. Sickness, different things, always something comes up. But I've made up my mind tonight. That's like a wedding night. And so here we are. And my presentation tonight, sir, is I'm looking for some help. I have an erosion problem on my property. I don't live close to the coast. I live right in the middle of Bayou Blue. It's the highest part of Bayou Blue. I came here 2 years ago, and the council really did listen to me, and the next morning there was 2 gentlemen on the outside taking pictures. 2 weeks later, they had put a Band-Aid. You know when you cut your finger, put a Band-Aid on it? Well, the parish sent some people out there, and they put a Band-Aid on that erosion. But you know, a Band-Aid is only a substitute for the skin. And so I'm here tonight. I need some help. I'm not looking for manual labor, nothing. If I could do it myself, I would. I'm too old. First thing, I couldn't get a permit to do what I want to do, but that's besides the point. But I would like the help that I'm looking for is from you gentlemen and two lovely ladies here. I need somebody to come out there and look at this problem. You know, when they gave the servitude for the parish to pass this drain here, there's 29 different houses that drain in that ditch. When it was dug, it was exactly the width of this podium here. I can't reach across that bayou, I call it a bayou, because all the water from that subdivision drains into this ditch. 29 different houses drain in there. The water comes up to the top of the drain. I can stand in it. You can't see my head. But it used to be this wide, and it was about this deep. But through the years, this thing has eroded, and I'm guessing, I didn't measure it because I can't reach across that ditch, but I'm saying that that ditch is about 12 to 15 feet wide now. And if I could get two people, it don't have to be any one of you, just somebody that knows what they're looking at. Of the erosion, that I would invite any one of you, that some of you might be a little larger than others, come lay down in where it's getting ready to fall in the ditch right now. You can lay down in there and don't touch it. It's big, it's getting big. And so what I'm looking for is two people. Come out there, look at this thing, take pictures and see what can be done to stop it. I'm not looking for 180 feet long of drain. I'm not looking for, what do you call it, when you drive the pilings in the ground and build something. You know, if you're living in the parish, Lafourche Parish is the richest parish around here. But you can't drive a stake in the ground because it might interfere with somebody. I have a neighbor that's about 250 feet this way. I have a neighbor on that side that's only about 40, 50 feet. And they just moved in. And they don't know anything about this drainage yet, but they're going to find out. The parish sends people to cut the grass that's taller than me in that ditch twice a year. It's not their fault. It's just the way that things are done. So I'm asking for the help here. Send somebody. That's what I'm looking for. You got to have something to start. You got to have a plan on how to fix it. A Band-Aid does not do the job. That Band-Aid will fall off after a while, and that's what happened. The parish took care of something, but it didn't last. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. That's my plea tonight. Send somebody.
Mr. Odom, before you leave, please I want you to give your name and number and address to our DPW director, Mr. James Barnes over there.
All right.
I wouldn't doubt that he'd be over there first thing in the morning to help you out, sir.
All right, sir, I appreciate
Mr. Melvin?
that.
Mr. Arnold, thank you for coming. Thank you for making it to 90. And I had a similar situation, and I know what Mr. James is going to talk to you about, but I'm assuming continual digging, ditch fluffs in, maybe you lost a little land here or there, just whatnot. It just continues to fluff. So I just dealt with that, and Mr. James, we only did send one when we got Mr. James.
Okay, one other thing that I failed to mention. This happens to be the drainage from the other street. About, I'm guessing here, 600-700 feet from that. It comes down there, it goes on the street here, and when it gets on this over here, it's a corner. And that water's coming down there, white caps, when it's a heavy rain. So when the water comes to this corner, what happens? It don't have any place to go except, and then it's terrifically important to understand that that water is traveling at a high speed trying to get to the canal that's in the drainage back here. It's a good plan, but you got to put something in this corner. They put a culvert with a joint in it. And you know what happened? There was a gas, no, I got to take that. There was a pipe in that ditch that somebody had used when there was a rig back in the back years ago. and the parish would not allow nobody to drill a hole in there to see if it was anything. They couldn't cut it. So what they did, they built a monument over this pipe, drilled through the cinder blocks on both sides, and built a grill on top of it. And so it worked. But you can't stop the water from going because it's open. And that's the only corner, that's the only ditch. I'm calling it a ditch. I'd like to call it something else. But anyhow, that's the only corner in that subdivision that the water goes through and eats the land up. So there's got to be a reason, there's got to be a way to stop it. I'm not, don't plug it for sure. All right, sir, if I have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
All right, sir. Thank you for coming in and address the council, and take it easy on them pain pills. I don't
Yes,
think you
sir.
needed to take that.
And by the way, sir, I appreciate the fact that you called me an elderly.
Yeah.
I'm 90 years old, so I'm still kicking pretty good.
You're looking fine, too.
The two ladies invited to come look at the ditch.
We having fun tonight. All right, was that the last of the public?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have it. Thank you. Mr. Harris, you can approach the podium. State your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name's Corey Harris from Terrebonne Parish, 121 Layton Loop, Houma, Louisiana. What I come here for tonight is I know that there's a real bad problem out there as far as this bullying problem that's in the schools for sure, and something that's affecting the youth a whole lot and damaging so many lives and so many potential dreams and so many of these young kids. As a matter of fact, it's starting at an earlier age as far as this big bullying problem. Just today, I was at Terrebonne High School, and me and a couple other folks, like the chief of police, the director of the Juvenile Detention Center in Terrebonne Parish, and a few more folks, we actually put on an anti-bullying program. I have a program at the Civic Center September the 16th in Terrebonne Parish, the Let's Fully Destroy the Bully Experience. So that's something that we'll have also. I do a lot of motivational speaking with the youth. I'm a published author, a registered nurse, a poet, a mentor. So I do a great deal of different things. And I wanted to come out here tonight basically to try to get the council's support, to also get, I had invited someone from the school board to come out tonight too, but I don't know if anybody came by because I wanted them to hear this too, because I know the more support from the community, I know the better that this would be something that would even happen. I want to try to get an event to occur in Lafourche Parish. And I mean, as far as exactly where that event will be, I don't know, because I mean, I'm pretty open to working with somebody to get this thing going. We have kids killing themselves. We have kids scared to go to school because they being bullied on social media, because they, might not be a part of this clique or that clique, or might not come from this neighborhood, or they might not have the shoes that everybody say they should have. They're getting bullied. They're getting bullied because of just real stupid stuff. And I mean, it's something. And also speaking in reference to social media, which I feel is not going anywhere anytime soon. I feel we just need to keep working and keep plugging and keep doing something to counteract this stuff. Social media is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, weapon that bulliers have to attack, people's minds and mindsets and ways of thinking. So Hey, like I said, I would greatly appreciate if we could, if I could get someone's, from the council, someone's phone number, contact information where I could communicate and follow up on this. And hey, I think we could try to get something going. Regardless of what you already have going or not have going in the parish, I'm willing to do something to empower and help someone, especially that's getting bullied and thinking that they're left alone or don't have help in this terrible, in reference to this terrible thing called bullying. So that's what I had to say. Any questions or any comments, I would greatly appreciate if you.
Man, that's awesome. I appreciate your community service as far as that goes, and being from home or coming to Lafourche and offering your services. That's outstanding.
Yeah. And actually what happened, the way this event even came about that I was a part of today was I ended up talking to Turbone High's principal, which I had done an event earlier this year at the school. I graduated from Turbone High. So I talked to him, I mentioned, hey man, I want to get something going in reference to this anti-bullying. I want to do an event. I know people that'll get with me and wouldn't mind doing this type of thing with me. So I brought it to his attention, and he wanted to target the students that were just about to come to Turbone High for next year, which are the 8th and 9th grade students coming from Homer Junior High. All of those students will be at Turbone next year, because Turbone's going like full force with 9th grade next year. So that's really how that happened. And man, we had like, it had to be somewhere around maybe, I would think 500 kids in the auditorium today. And we had a very receptive response. Students really involved. Principal's already talking about, hey, let's do another one when school starts again, that kind of thing. So I mean, it's something that I just love to do what I can to try to help the youth. And I mean, I even have an event. As a matter of fact, I have flyers with one of my events I have coming up, the 4th annual Empower Our Youth Extravaganza. That's something I created a couple years back. It's been growing every year. I even have Miss Sally Ann Roberts from WWL TV that'll be coming out this year to speak at the event. And I've been steadily just, of course, trying to get people to come to this particular event. And hey, I mean, I even have a website, CoreyHarrisInspires.com, if y'all want to see some of the things I've done. But hey, I'm willing to try to do what I can to get something going out here, because the thing is, and one of the reasons I do what I do is because too many people sit back and talk about what needs to be done and who not doing this and who not doing that. And I'm one of those people. I like to get something, active, get in motion, get something going, and try to do something other than just wait and watch for somebody else to do something.
Mr. Harris, you see the lady in a blue and white striped shirt right there? She's the director of our library system in Lafourche. She would be an absolute right person to get with tonight and exchange information. And also, I don't think someone from the school board showed up tonight. But yeah, we definitely need to facilitate communicating between you and them as well. Mr. Lafont, you have a question?
Yeah, look, man, congratulations on what you're doing. I think it's tremendous and awesome. It touched my heart. I'm going to give you my card. I work in Terrebonne Parish at Terrebonne 4, right next to Terrebonne High and Homer Junior High. I'd like to help you out. And so if you want to come get my cards, I'll give them to you. Give me a call tomorrow. I'll meet with you. I'm in Homer every day. Okay. I'd love to meet with you.
Great, appreciate it.
Don't try to sell him a truck, Jerry.
No.
Jerry Jones?
Yeah, Mr. Harris, thank you for coming.
How you doing?
And you mentioned bullying in the schools, bullying in the neighborhoods, but don't forget bullying on the work jobs.
Oh yes.
And right now, Lafourche Parish needs someone like you to educate bullying. That goes right here in this building, in the workplace. So please leave me your number and all. I'll get with you and I'll help you any way I can.
Great, I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, also sitting behind you, the guy with the tie, with the glasses right there, the nice dressed fella. Not picking on him, but
he didn't say handsome.
He's with the Attorney General's office. I'm sure he can help out also.
Okay, all right, great.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, thank you for what you're trying to do. I think if you get with the council clerk, she can give you all the phone numbers and the emails of the whole council, and we can communicate.
Okay, great.
Ms. Babin.
Great, I greatly appreciate that.
You could reach her at 446-8427.
Okay. All right.
446.
Any other questions?
I'll send you all the information.
Okay, okay.
And also, if you can get me one of those files, I appreciate it.
Great, great.
All right, Mr. Harris, thank you so much for coming and spreading your word tonight. We appreciate that service you're willing to provide to our people in Lafourche.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving along, Section J, ordinances for discussion and ratification. Can we get a motion? To open, moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr.
Second.
Lorraine. All in favor? Any opposed?
At number 7, you could defer it to the next meeting. We're
deferring
getting
it?
closer
Okay.
to an answer.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. April 25th? All right, item 7 is deferred. Number 8, ordinance amending ordinance 5459, changing the speed limit from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour on Ansley Drive, Villa at Layton Plantation in Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for placement of speed limit, speed check by radar, and watch for children signs, and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Ms. Esposito. Second by Mr. who? Lafont. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none, any comment from the council? Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 9, ordinance rescinding ordinance 2496 as it pertains to convenience store owners being required to employ 2 persons continuously on duty on the premises from 10 p.m. until closing or 5 a.m., whichever occurs first. Moved by Ms. Esposito. Second by Mr. Lafont. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none, from the council. Mr. Lafont, your light is on.
Yeah, Lucy, I'm just trying to get why you wanted to change it. I know it was something the sheriff's office pushed for us to push for the previous council before I was even there. But I went and asked a couple stores in my district and how they felt about it, because I thought it might have been something good, and they all felt that we ought to leave it like it is, because they said they see unsafe practices all the time in their store. Actually, one of them was robbed not long ago. I'm just trying to get your point of view on it, if you could.
Well, I brought it up because a business owner contacted me, felt like it was government interfering with his business, and wanted the council to discuss it. So I'm just bringing it to the council for discussion and opinion. You vote on it as you choose. I'm just following through with a business owner request.
Yeah, they did tell me, and these guys own some little convenience stores, and he said, man, just leave it. I'd leave it like it is, just for safety factors in the parish.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, it was brought up on May 13, 1997, and the reason why that was brought up, there was a murder in the parish at that time. And after they did this, I guess to really be honest with you, I'd like to see it be deferred till we get the stats from the sheriff's office to see if there were any other murders since, see how many more robbers they had, if it slacked off or not, and go from there. But the reason why it was done is because of a murder. Because if you got 2 people in there, that doesn't mean they can't come in and kill both of them.
Exactly.
But chances of them killing both versus 1 is a big difference, I would think. Sometimes 2 of them might determine for them not to do it, and sometimes they might just do it. But I think, why don't we get the stats and with the sheriff's office from the time that this was passed till now, and then bring it up at the next meeting and see what it is.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, I'm going to kind of echo what Mr. Lorraine said, but I mean, the sheriff's office, I would kind of like to get the opinion of the sheriff's office. I know Major Grow is here, but I'm sure he doesn't have, a statement from the sheriff, about this. But I'd like to get the sheriff's opinion because he is their chief law enforcement officer.
Mr. Grow?
My question was going to be just, like Lucy said, it's more in lines, I'm looking at it as government interfering in people's businesses. I mean, there's other businesses that are open, ballrooms open from 10 to 2. Sometimes they have one bartender. What's the difference, There's a lot of businesses open 24 hours, that may have just one employee. That was my take on it. So I was in favor of it.
I'm all about smaller government too, and I think this could have a negative effect on businesses that can't afford to have 2 people manning a cash register for 5 hours a night. Mr. LaFont.
And on the thing about the 2 employees, I'm sure if the store wants to hire 2 employees, it's their right to hire 2 employees. So I guess.
Instead of forcing them to do it.
Instead of forcing them to do it. I think the law states that now if you open after the time, you have to have 2 employees unless you have a window that you can, I think you gotta have a bulletproof window where you can slide them their things, but, all right. It's up to y'all, whatever y'all want.
This was on the, it went out Thursday. Is the sheriff in distribution on these agendas? And no one from his office called to...
And it's an ordinance, so it was proposed a couple of weeks ago.
Right. So it's been in public for a month. Almost a month now.
And again, I wouldn't want to work at a place where I was working alone, but again, it's government interfering with businesses. I know when Miss Pat looked it up for me, Terrebonne, Miss Pat, do you remember? Terrebonne had a similar? Terrebonne has the same ordinance, but none of the other parishes surrounding us has that ordinance. So
I'm willing to give the power back to the owners of the business myself. It's up to you. Mr. Lorraine, you got more?
Yeah, I just think it's a safety issue. A few minutes ago, we were talking about a detective, metal detective, to try to be safe. And this is a safety issue. I don't think too many people that work there really want to work there, but probably some of them don't have a choice. And 2 is better than 1. But y'all do what y'all want.
We will. All right, do you want to pull it or you want to move it to a vote?
no, I'm going to move it to a vote. If the council
All right.
disagrees, then just vote it down, and I can give the owner some closure on this.
All right. We're going to move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-1. Passes 8-1-1. Or 7-1-1, yeah.
7 yeas, 1 nay, 0 absent.
1 abstention. So 7-1-0-1. All right. Yes. Item number 10, ordinance prohibiting the use of the Lafourche Parish logo from businesses or organizations who are not sponsored by or who have not entered into an agreement to use such a logo. I need to change some of the verbiage in this thing. I need to pull it. Defer it till next time. Actually, if I defer an ordinance that's already passed the proposed phase, we have to start over again, right, and propose it at the next meeting? If I defer it, I can go ahead and amend the terminology? Okay, I'll defer it to the 25th. I want to make sure that the council has the power to ratify such use. All right, moving on to number 11, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Errol James Cherami, Delton Toussaint Cherami, Ann Cherami Mathern, Darlene Cherami Martin, and the Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Armin Otown. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Being none from the council? Being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 12, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Rhonda Bergeron, Guidry, and the Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Being none. From the council? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 13, ordinance providing a variance from the Lafourche Parish Subdivision Regulations, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 5, Fire Hydrant, Section 22-482-2, from the installation of a fire hydrant and redivision of Lot 2-A-1 into Lot 2-A-1A and 2-A-1B on the property of Shane Duplantis as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their February 23rd, 2017 meeting. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Ms. Esposito. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times being done from the council? Mr. Lafont.
Yeah, why are we giving, I asked for a variance a couple meetings ago, and last meeting, actually, I was denied, so why would you give a variance to somebody else? I'd like an explanation on that.
Yeah, Ms. Pat, please, if you would like to address that.
Pat Mathern, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Planning Department. When I came up the last time for a variance that was not granted, if you remember, I explained I would be coming back again with one in a different way. The Planning Commission recommended the variance from the fire hydrant on this certain property because if you look at your paperwork that was in your package, there's documentation from the fire chief, and the water district states that it has a 4-inch line, which a fire hydrant cannot be placed on anything under a 6-inch line. So the only way the Planning Commission is going to recommend a variance from a fire hydrant is if there is other type of fire protection that is provided and approved by the fire chief. In there is a letter from the fire chief that states, sorry. It says, it's from Lafourche Fire District Number 1. Dear Sir, in reference to Shane Duplantis' property located at 480 Bayou Falls Road, I agree to a variance as long as the draft stand is built and maintained by the owner. The fire department will test upon request. The department will only use the draft stand site for the owner property unless permission is given to use for neighbor's property. So therefore, they are unable to do the fire hydrant, but are still providing us with a type of fire protection. And that is why the variance was recommended by the Planning Commission. They met all 4 criteria for a variance.
Does that satisfy your question, Mr. Lafont?
Do they have a pond dug?
This is on Bayou Falls Road. It's Bayou Falls Road, and then the bayou is right there, Bayou Falls. So they're going to draw from Bayou Falls.
I'm trying to look how close they are to Bayou Falls.
They're right across the road. I mean, one side of Bayou Falls is houses.
There's no shoulder.
And then it's Bayou Falls right across from the highway.
All right. Mr. Nuni-Otan, can you give me your opinion on that?
So they're going to put a draft site on whose property?
On Mr. Duplantis, on the person who's requesting the variance.
So it's going to go, because it's going to be on the, they're going to bore underneath the road?
I'm not quite sure what they're going to do, Mr. Otam, but however, they will have to go ahead and meet the, whatever required by the fire department. And once it's completed and constructed, I'm not quite sure how that's installed. The fire chief is going to inspect it and going to issue me a letter as to whether it passed inspection. Now, until all of this is done and approved by the fire chief, this will not get recorded where this person could actually record the sale or whatever donation is being done. That all has to pass this inspection prior to it being.
I noticed one of the things that the fire chief mentioned in there was that it has to be properly maintained. So who's going to supervise that to make sure this is the reason why? So 2 years from now, 3 years from now, fire department pulls up, they send a couple of guys into this burning house. They're anticipating that draft site to be effective and to be good. Who's making sure that that draft site is maintained? So now we're in danger, because it talks about undue risk to property, personnel, et cetera. Well, it does put risk at firefighters. And one of the things about draft sites is that we have draft sites, no doubt, but we have siltation here. So the draft sites become ineffective within a month. So what I'm saying is, I understand what the fire chief says, that if this draft site is maintained, he's okay with it. What I'm here to tell you is that draft site's not going to get maintained. We have a tough time maintaining our own draft sites. So my opinion is, if we're going to allow this variance, once again, let's change the law. Let's say that anybody who can come up with a draft site then doesn't have to install a fire hydrant. Because once again, I have a big pond in my backyard. My neighbor had to put a $6,000 hydrant he had to pay because he was a few feet off for his house. If we can do it for one, let's do it for everybody. So I would rather see a change in the law than a simple variance. I totally disagree with granting this variance.
I just want to present the facts, and that's what I'm here for, to present the facts.
Can I get the address?
Now, you can put a stipulation on it too, if that's what you would want to do, but like I said, however, that's your choice.
You have a physical? You have a physical address? It's not on the, it just
It's
says.
480 Bayou Falls Road.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, I mean, I want to address Mr. Otan's question about they're going to bore into the road or what have you. Bayou Falls Road is actually on top of the levee of Bayou Falls, and it's a parish right-of-way, but the owners of the property actually...
So it's going to be on the parish right-of-way.
It's going to be, you're going to cross the parish right-of-way, but the owners still own the banks of the bayou. That's actually still their property. The parish just has a right-of-way across it.
So we talked a little bit earlier. So we talked a little bit earlier about when Mr. Ordon was here, about when things are done, how is the parish going to maintain that road, or North Lafourche Levee District coming here? Any work that has to be done along that, they're going to have to get permission from this landowner to do the work there because of the draft site?
No, I mean,
You familiar with a draft site, how they installed? How
absolutely, but what
and the intake, is there going to be a flexible intake, or is it going to be down in the mud? Is it going to be something that's above and they're going to drop in?
I'm explaining the ownership of the property. Okay, the property on Bayou Falls, the parish just has a right-of-way, which means they don't own the real estate. The landowners own the real estate into the bayou, so it's still their property. The parish just has a right-of-way, which is a right of passage, ingress and egress. But, so if they put it on the other side of the road from their house, it's still on their property.
Right. And
there's boat launches there, there are docks, there's all kinds of, I mean, you're familiar with Bayou Falls. I mean, it's
far more than you. I grew up there. I mean, that's where I grew up at. So yeah, I know Bayou Falls pretty well. That's why I knew it was going to be on the opposite side of the road.
Exactly, but it's a parish right-of-way, and that's why I was explaining for that issue. The man says he's going to maintain the draft site.
The thing that's really kind of hard is that the Water District, I talked to them because this is 480 Bayou Falls Road, and actually the Water District is getting ready to install more 8-inch water line along Bayou Falls, and it's going up to the address of 394 Bayou Falls Road. So, yeah, it's still a short distance from it, though. I mean, still too much of a distance for the fire hydrant location for them to connect to that one.
Any more questions? All right, thank you for your explanation. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
All right, being no more discussion, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Let's see the hands of the nays. Passes 5-4, descending Mr. Jones, Paraloo, Otan, and Lafont. All right, moving along, number 14, ordinance authorizing Lafourche Parish government to purchase the properties located at 106 Mercer Road and Delta Farm Road boat launch in La Rose from Geneva Marie Guidry Mercer in the total amount of $310,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer a purchase agreement, act of sale.
We need to defer that till, we need to get an agreement from the South Lafourche Levee District. The South Lafourche Levee District owns a good portion of that land. They got the right-of-way. So I'd hate to see us buy it and then them come back and say we can't use it. I don't think they will, but I think I'd feel more comfortable having that right-of-way in hand before we purchase that piece of property.
Mr. Lafont, defer until the 25th?
Yeah, if we can get something signed by the Levee District by that.
All right. Thank you. Item number 15, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-006 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the emergency repairs for the Yankee Canal levee paid by South Lafourche Levee District in the amount of $164,916.16, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any input from the public? One time, two times, three times being done from the council. Mr. Lafont.
I'm sorry.
So is this work that's already been done by the South Lafourche Levy District that we're trying to reimburse them for?
Yes, it is. It's only about, from the amount of time that we should have paid this bill, we should be able to cut them another check for the interest that they're going to draw. It's only about the 10th time that we voted on this. This was all done, if you remember right, by the levy district, and the parish reimbursed them. That's still the same one we never could pay them yet.
Why haven't they been paid if we voted this up before?
Good question, because they didn't have it in the supplemental appropriation. It's the same bill, it's the same thing we've been talking about 10, 12, 15 times.
All right.
I got the record on the longest to be paid.
All right, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Move to close by Mr. Lafont, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, move back to proposed ordinances. Mrs. Esposito, please.
Number 16, proposed ordinance establishing 2 three-way stop signs on Waverly Road at Bentley Drive, northbound and southbound lanes, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary three-way stop signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Can someone
Someone needs to move it for her.
move for me? Moved by Councilman Grow. Number 17, proposed ordinance establishing no litter in or around the 40 Orphan Canal with signs to be placed on both sides of the road 50 feet in front of the private bridge at the end of Supercharged Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 4, Parish of Louisiana, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no littering in or around the 40 Orphan Canal. Signs, I'm still reading. Signs to be placed on both sides of the road 50 feet in front of the private bridge at the end of Supercharged Drive and providing penalties for the violations thereof, proposed by Councilman Grow. Number 18, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-008 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget and capital budget to deobligate funding for the Rita Bridge BR 009 and transfer the grant funding from Louisiana Government Assistance Program number 1314-LFR-0001 to East Camellia Drive Waterline Project 11030 in the amount of $39,800 and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Grow.
Got a question on that. Who came up with this idea? 18, yeah.
Administration called me about it, said it was money that was done, it was already finished.
Yeah. Well, Rita is not in my district, but I think it's in Mr. Otan's district. But Rita been looking for water lines for the last few years. So why would we move money from Rita and bring it to East Camellia?
It's a very good question.
I mean, Rita is a very low-income community, and this money was dedicated to Rita. So why would we move it from Rita when we know they need improvement in water line? They've been coming to this council for the last 10 years to improve their water line. So why would we do that? That coming from the administration? Can someone answer that?
I'll look into it, and I'll get back to you, find out what it's about.
Well, we should have looked into it already. You got it on the agenda and should have answers. I want to wait for Mr. Looney to come back in to ask him, do he really support this? Can you move on? We can move back.
He don't. Yeah, we're not voting on it.
Yeah, but I want some answers before. Yeah, I don't want him coming to the next meeting and saying he's going to look into it. They should have answer here tonight for this project.
Well, if you got to make some amendments, you can only do it at the next meeting. It goes in automatically, whether you like it or not. If I don't like it, or whoever likes it or don't like it, it goes in.
It's not the idea that I like it or not, Daniel. It's the doing the right thing. Rita community need water lines. So why should we take the money from Rita?
I have no idea. I'm just telling you how the process works. You can question it all you want.
But that's what I'm saying. This administration should know the reason why if they put this on the agenda. So somebody had to do it. Mr. Looney, since you're back in, item 18, Rita subdivision has been looking for water lines for the last 10 years for sure.
I've been hustling because, once again, we don't believe in draft sites, and that's why I just got through chastising that fire chief for stepping out of line. But anyway, beside the point, I did ask around. I'm trying to figure out where this project's going. DPW doesn't know anything about it, so I'm wondering, does anybody know with this water line, why is it being pulled from the low-income Rita community where the bridge was at? That area, I've been fighting with the water district if they was here. If y'all remember last year when they were here, I asked them about the water line in Rita, because when we have fires there, we have to either get access. Matter of fact, Nick's here, and Nick could tell you that we've asked them to maintain a levee so we can actually go and suck out a canal because we have such poor water flow there. So I'm not sure. I did want to ask Mike Grove. Obviously, he sponsored it. DPW doesn't know anything about it. Do you know what it's about?
Like I said, I got a call. I'm trying to pull up an email right now, but I understand that this started under Ms. Randolph. There was something to do with the state.
This is a letter we received from the state to transfer the funding. If y'all don't want to do it, or y'all have another project to do, we have to look into, at Mr. Jones' recommendation, we'll get on it tomorrow and find out, Adam put this on. We can find out before the next meeting if it's possible to put it to another program, and that's y'all wishes, that's what we'd be glad to do.
Thank you, Tommy. Yeah, because I went to DPW. I didn't even think about asking Adam with grants. That's a good point. I should have asked Adam.
It's supposed to,
Thank you.
It was a letter that came from the state, and it started under Ms. Randolph. Kelly, if you have the letter, would you mind emailing it to everybody?
all right, let's move along. These are only proposed. We'll get some answers done, and Miss Lucy.
Number 19, proposed ordinance approving the active donation between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Ambulance District Number 1 for the donation of one 2010 Chevrolet Express Cutaway 3500 ambulance, then number 1GB6G2B66A1123840, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Otan. Number 20, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-007 with the 2017 operations and maintenance budget and capital budget to cover the additional cost of amendment number 2 to complete the appeal process of D-Firm with CB&I Shaw in the amount of $74,093.21, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine. Number 21, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 5877 that amended ordinance number 5833, which adopted the 2017 operations and capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine.
Question.
Mr. Jones.
On this proposed ordinance for amending, what's the change for what position?
Mr. Lorraine, you just sponsored.
I was asked to do it by the administration, and I told them they can go ahead. I think I'm not really sure, but I think it's for Mr. Bro. That has to do with you, Tony? I think what it is, from what I understood, that Tony's going to be accepting more duties, and I think his salary is going to go up. That's what I was told.
Well, Mr. James Bond was supposed to have a raise given to him March 1st, 2017. Why isn't that on here?
Anyone?
It's just a proposal. I can't answer that.
I know, but it was promised to him in a meeting November the 15th, 2016, that it would be March 1st. It's now April the 11th.
I was in that meeting as well.
And Mr. Otan
was too.
Well, I wasn't in that meeting, so I don't know. I have no idea. And I don't know what to tell you.
Administration was there. Can you shed some light on it?
Not at this time.
Well, I recommend when this come up for full adoption, we vote it down till he come up with a solution for it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving along to Section M, Resolutions. Number 22, resolution accepting a low quote of Complete Network Management, Inc. in the amount of $27,960 for the purchase of computers and equipment for the Lafourche Parish Library and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents.
So
moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 23.
Mr. Chairman, can we take a break? Some of y'all went during the proposed ordinance, and some of us couldn't go because we'd had to recess the meeting. Do you mind if we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, I don't want to stop the meeting right now. You can go.
Well, I want to vote on things, but I didn't want to leave because if I'd have walked out when y'all all walked out, we'd have to stop the meeting.
All right. 3-minute recess. All right, moving right along. Item number 23, resolution rescinding resolution number 16-162, which designated Councilman Daniel Lorraine as the library liaison on the Library Board of Control. Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Ms. Esposito. Any discussion?
Yes, I have some.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Number one, can you give me the just cause? And number two, did the library board pass a resolution to remove me?
Number one, I don't have a just cause because I was just asked by the board president, or I guess that's his title, to present this to the council.
Can you produce the council with a resolution that they acted on?
I don't think that's a legal requirement.
Well,
to
how
do
did you
something
vote
like
on the
this.
Lindell Toops? Y'all went against it because the board didn't approve it. That was y'all answers. That was your answer.
Yeah. Would you like to address that? Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Lonnie Grenier, 188 New Haven Street, Matthews, Louisiana, 70394. First of all, thank you for moving favorable on the last resolution. It's really pertinent that we have the computers necessary to maintain our status as the State Library of the Year. We've got a fantastic program, and it's very, very important that we continue to have the support from the council that we have clearly in elevating our library system, because you're very proud of us, and we appreciate that. No, we've discussed it as a board in our meetings. Where
Can you speak a little closer? I'm having a hard time hearing.
Where we as a board have expressed our concern over the board's relationship with Councilman Lorraine, and we believe that amid the growing animosity over the most recent proposal to rename the library after Councilman Toops, that it's really impossible to have a relationship with our current library liaison that can grow and that can flourish. To address the narrative that the library board moved in such an illicit fashion is false. Originally, we were presented with the opportunity, with just the discussion, to have that library named after Councilman Toops. We were willing to entertain having a public hearing. There was a number of email exchanges between myself and Councilman Lorraine where we expressed our intent to have that public hearing in July, because our April and May board meetings are specifically set for budget talks. We don't get paid. Library board members don't get paid. I served on the Planning Commission before. I got paid to serve on the Planning Commission even though I wrote the money back. We don't get paid to serve on the library board. And so we were willing to entertain a public hearing at a time when our budget concerns and our budget conversations weren't at the forefront of our meeting. And that earliest meeting was in July. So as the governing body of the Lafourche Parish Public Library System, we deserve to have a voice in matters concerning the library system. We just feel that has to be so. When we learned that there was intent to put that recommendation on, or to put that in an ordinance form in your agenda, I made the decision to poll my members, my board members, and see about calling an emergency special meeting to address the recommendation. I did that. We had our meeting. It was pushed. It was expeditious. We didn't have a choice. We wanted our voice to be heard, and that was the only way that that was going to happen. So we had our meeting, we voted, and then we presented that information to you to do with it as you wished, and you did. And I'm simply here speaking on behalf of my board. I speak for my board as a whole, as a unit. If a resolution is what is required, I'll get a resolution. Won't be an issue. But I'm here today asking on behalf of my board that we have a library liaison who we can have a relationship with. Now, I'm not saying that Councilman Lorraine doesn't share the goals and the incentives the same as we do for the library system. He respects the library system. He utilizes our services. I'm never going to stand here and say that he doesn't want what's best for the library system. But we have to look forward. And with the animosity that we all witnessed at the last meeting, I think it's very impossible to have that relationship that we require with our library liaison. Now, I will say, and I will commend Councilman Lorraine for being so attentive to our needs and to our meetings, because our previous library liaison, Councilman Arnold, didn't make a single meeting. And so that's definitely something that we were very fortunate to at least have a library liaison that attended those meetings. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Groh.
I did get a call about some routers, as well as the nomination for the renaming. I wasn't at the last meeting. I did express to Councilman Lorraine that I thought it was done wrong, you know, kind of rushed through. And this was on phone calls. And I thought for something like that, it should have been like a unanimous. He should have got all of us on the side, make sure he had, that could have just come through. You know, when you're honoring somebody, it needs to be unanimous, in my opinion. However, he has made all y'all meetings, okay? I have not gotten a call about him being removed, and people on the library board have access to me. I don't think because you have a disagreement with somebody that you should remove them from a board, you know? I don't think we were elected to all get along on everything and pass everything 9-0. I would hope Councilman Lorraine puts that vote behind him, and, you know, I don't, you know, I'm passionate about certain things that I might bring up, but I'm going to move on the minute we walk out of here, you know, sometimes easier than others. I would hope that he's attentive to y'all needs and he wants to make the library board better. And the fact that he goes, I think he does. I don't think he's going there and making all these meetings to ruffle feathers. I may be wrong. I haven't made any. I'm just asking you to think or maybe come with something from your board. I would feel better about voting if it came from them. And that's just my point. You know, I don't think because you have a disagreement less than a month ago that you take somebody out. I think that's to rush to judgment.
Mr. Melvin.
I'm just curious, do you believe we're in a position to serve or be served? Are we all in a position to serve, just like you and your board, or be served?
Well,
you'd agree we're here to serve, right?
Well, of course. No, we're
Okay.
definitely here to serve. And as a board and as individual members, as a board member, I myself and my entire board serves at the pleasure of the council.
Okay, so to me, it doesn't matter if it's Mr. Lorraine or the man in the moon or whoever, but if you have someone who's on a board, and I know in the past, I know there's an individual that comes to my mind who's not even in this room, very, very cantankerous individual, very difficult. We had a discussion about bullying earlier. And I don't know if any of these acronyms come to mind, because I apologize, I have not been to one of your meetings. I'm the Head Start guy, okay? I would like to attend one of your meetings. I'm always at the library. But if it's coming down to some of these things, then maybe you need to change. But like I said, I haven't been to your meetings to witness any of these things. I'm just going on what I've been told. So if any of that's happening, you need to let us know.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, I'm actually, Mr. Groth kind of stole most of the questions I was going to ask, and you actually answered one of them about the predecessor, Mr. Lorraine, was Mr. Arnold, and he didn't go there. Who was the predecessor to Mr. Arnold?
Councilman Kaiwet.
And did he attend regularly, or I'm not.
Mr. Chairman, they need to step up, they're going to speak. It has to be on microphone, please.
Yeah, I can only speak to my experience on the board, which doesn't span further back than 2.5 years. Our director might be able to speak to that.
Laura Sanders, 212 Belmead Boulevard. Our prior person was Aaron Cayuet. He only attended when Miss Randolph needed something from the library board.
Okay, thank you. I mean, kind of my point is that, I mean, you've had one disagreement with Mr. Lorraine, and, I mean, hey, we don't agree, we don't fire. I mean, we'd all fire each other on this council if we didn't agree. I mean, you know, we're all fired. But the point of it is that Mr. Lorraine has made every meeting except for the one that he had a prior engagement. I happened to be with him during that engagement, and he was actually very upset he could not be there. He talked about it about every 30 minutes. He was upset. I'd like to ask you to give Mr. Lorraine another chance. You know, let's not rush to judgment. He's very passionate, and with passionate comes strong opinions. And the fact that he's there he's been there probably more times than your two prior library liaisons. I think it's a rush to judgment on Mr. Lorraine, and I'd ask you to reconsider that.
Mr. Lafont.
I'm not going to be in favor of this. I sat on a board. I was a Head Start board member before Mr. Melvin, and I didn't always agree with them. And I just don't want precedents to be set here that every time that a councilman sits on a board, if we don't agree with what y'all want or something, that y'all going to come over here, or some board's going to come over here and ask to be removed. We were elected by the people to represent the parish, and then we appoint you guys. So if I look at it this way, you working for Mr. Lorraine or you working for somebody from your district.
That's correct.
I just don't want it to be a precedent, and I appreciate your service on time because you're not getting paid. But again, Mr. Arnold didn't make any meetings. Nobody came over here and asked to remove him. Look, I've been on this council. I've been knowing Daniel a long time, but been on the council with him. Me and Daniel didn't. We never got along before I got on the council. I can tell you that. I was against him and my neighbor across the street. They were. I was against them, but you know, we worked together, me and Mr. Lorraine, and I know his dedication to every board he's ever sat on. He's there, and he don't miss meetings, and he does what he has to. But one thing I want to make this statement, I think this is going to be pretty critical. I think Mr. Lorraine has done more for the library board than you can do the rest of your life, what he's done in the time he's been on this council.
You're right.
So with that, I'm going to be in support of Mr. Lorraine.
Daniel?
Yeah, I just want to say, no matter which way I went to the board, I let them know. I could have came straight to the council and not let them know. So either way I went, I was in a bind. But I can accept defeat. I was defeated on what I wanted to do or attempted to do. The board proved that. But coming up here tonight without a resolution from the board, hearsay is no good. Get a resolution. You had plenty of time to call a meeting. Call it. I can tell you one thing. I busted my butt for that library parish-wide. You had a close tax call one time, and I was out there hustling votes for you in case you don't know it. And maybe if I'd have been the other way, it might have not passed, because that's how close it was. But present me with a resolution from the board and give me just cause. I think everybody heard here tonight, Mr. Caillouette passed. He only made one meeting, I think. Mr. Arnold never made a meeting. I made just about every one. I think I missed one. And I've always tried. I mean, I ain't perfect. I was defeated on the issue. As far as I'm concerned, it's over with. We move on. I ain't gonna sit here and cry, and I ain't gonna sit here and beg. If they want to remove me, they remove me. But I did the best I could. And I had the right to do what I did. I didn't win, so I'm moving on. And that's it.
Councilman, if I may, Corey, you can verify that before I stepped out at the last meeting, I did send you a text message asking you to defer this so that we could further discuss it.
And it was deferred.
And it was deferred, but previous to the discussion being had on the last item. So, yes.
Yeah, but while I'm sitting up here conducting meetings, I can't check my
certainly.
text messages.
No, just verifying that I did make a request that this be deferred so that we could have further discussion on it after I felt that there was certainly a lot of emotion swirling around after the last meeting. Councilman Lorraine, I mean, I really am grateful for all the support that you've given to the library system. And should you remain our liaison, I look forward to continuing to work with you. And our next meeting is when? May, let's see, so in 2 Mondays. In 2 Mondays. And so I'd be happy to take that up with our board. As I said, I'm here speaking on behalf of the board. It's not appropriate as the board president to come and speak from my own heart when I'm supposed to represent 6 other individuals who also sit on the same board as me. And so I'm here as a representative of the board. But I agree, hearsay is difficult to go on. So I would be happy to entertain further discussions about this. I've said all I need to say at this time.
All right, Mr. Grow.
I appreciate your candor. I appreciate you coming. I mean, and because you
I'll
could
come
be
again.
facing, you could be facing a firing squad, you know. But you handled yourself well. You were very matter of fact, and you also said you're willing to move past it. So if you'd had a piece of paper, it was a a vote, then I think several of us would think differently. Not to say we think you did your line. I appreciate your courage to come up here. And let's keep the library as strong as it is and keep it moving forward.
Thank you.
I'd like to call to vote.
Well, if I may as well, Councilman, I'd like to address a comment by Councilman Bourgeois regarding our special meeting. I was only made aware of the event that was happening after the meeting had already been scheduled. And so when I learned that this was a proposed ordinance coming on a future agenda, I polled my members to see when we could call that meeting. It was either going to be the Thursday, the Friday, or the Monday. We had a member who was leaving on over a month-long cruise from which he has still not returned. So we were left with a very small window in which we could have our voice be heard. It wasn't going to be on a Friday. I sent that out to my members, and it didn't come back favorable. So Thursday was the only time that we were able to hold that meeting. I doubt that Councilman Lorraine's presence at that meeting, nor any remarks that he could have made, would have changed our vote, because his intention was made clear. We had already discussed it at a previous meeting. Lord knows everyone in this room believes that Councilman Toops should be memorialized, and justly so. That's not what was at issue, nor is it at issue at this time. So I just wanted to address that. I know that there was a narrative built that the library board was out to have its way and to, set aside any opposition that would come its way. And that just wasn't the way that
Okay, we're
was
going to move along. Ms.
orchestrated.
Lucy, you have something?
Yeah, I was one of the council members that was called by a few of the board members, and I was told that you all felt bullied, seems to be a theme tonight, and that you thought one of the agenda items was pulled because maybe retaliation, just to show you whether or not that was true or not. And I'm not saying you, I'm looking at you, but I'm not saying you're the one that said that. I just think, I guess my concern is if an unpaid board of the library, which is doing as exceptionally well as it is, if they feel as though they don't have the support, or they fear retaliation, that's concerning to me, because I worry about losing board members. I appreciate you put yourself out here, and you weren't told that a resolution was required to make this decision. And a resolution isn't required, it's just a council vote that's required. So I appreciate you coming out. I'm not sure what's going to happen tonight, but I do understand what you all are facing. And I can appreciate it's one thing to say move on when you're the one with the power. But when you're not the one that is perceived to have the power, it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to support your decision if it goes to vote tonight.
Mr. Melvin?
I'll just reiterate, it doesn't come down to how many meetings somebody makes. It comes down to how you conduct yourself at a meeting, period. Whether it's me at Head Start or whether it's anybody else at other meeting in this parish, we should have some professionalism and serve the people. So it doesn't matter how many meetings somebody makes. I don't care about that. If I got somebody bad at my meeting, I don't want them to make any meetings. If I got somebody good, I want them there all the time. My point is, I haven't been to one of your meetings, but I'm just saying it goes down to the professionalism of the person who's representing your board at the meeting.
Okay. Do you want a chance to go back to your board and discuss this further before we move it to a vote, or would you like for us to move it to a vote tonight?
I think Councilman Lorraine certainly deserves what he's due. I mean, Councilman LaFont made that very, very clear, his contribution. Not that it was needed, we're all very aware of it, but I mean, any attention that you can bring to Councilman Lorraine's services, I mean, we're all grateful for. Yeah, I'll bring it back to my board see what we come up with. I
Okay.
won't call a special meeting because you're going to give us time to do that. So I will do that and come back to you in due time.
I'd like to call for a question and take a vote.
Okay, we'll do it right now. Any more discussion? Being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor of rescinding resolution appointing Daniel as library liaison? All in favor of this resolution? Aye. 3? 4? All opposed? All right. So it fails 5-4. Yeah, 4-5, sorry. The 4 was O-Town. All right, moving along, number 24, resolution requesting the administration and sewage district number 1 board to enter into negotiations with Tessie for Tessie to take over the operations for privatization of sewage district number 1 to be completed no later than December 31st, 2017, moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by? Mr. Lorraine seconds it.
I have an amendment.
So you want to address his question on the original?
Well, what my question, my amendment is that privatization of sewer district 1, and I want to amend it to number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 7, number 14, Morristown and Rita.
You have it written down? All right, so you move on this amendment?
Yes.
Any seconds? Mr. Lorraine seconds the amendment, and the amended resolution would read as such. Privatization of sewer district number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 7, number 14, Morristown and Rita to be completed no later than December 31st, 2017. And that's moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. Discussions? Mr. LaFont?
I'd like to see the resolution, it says resolution request administration and sewage district 1 board to enter in so we're gonna, where it says district number 1, that's where we're adding all the other boards?
Yes.
And to enter in negotiation?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mr. Melvin?
I spoke to my board about this since this is written on here, and they said they just want whatever's best for the parish. I mean, and I'm all in favor of that. I still question as to why the administration didn't move and Mr. Bourgeois is moving, but in any event, I'm just for whatever's best for the parish, so.
My question is, are there other companies that we should talk to other than, are we limiting ourselves by just saying Tessie?
Mr. Bourgeois.
Versus a sewage treatment company?
The only other company that operates in the area that I could find was Veola. Veola actually does the entire city of Kenner and the city of Harahan. My understanding is they weren't interested in these remote locations. Tessie's based out of Baton Rouge, and they were the only ones, because each of these is individual plants and oxidation ponds and all of that. They were the only ones with any interest because they're already in the footprint of the area. They're actually owned by South Louisiana Electric out of Houma, Sleeka. No one else really seems to be kind of interested in them.
I just don't like the verbiage. I mean, I wouldn't ask y'all just to talk to John Deere when you're buying a tractor.
We
You
can
know,
strike
I
Tessie
just
as
wish you would,
privatization.
you know, just maybe ask around and see if they wouldn't want to come from Kenner to here. That's the only thing. I didn't think we should limit it to Tessie, only Tessie.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. LaFont?
I'd like to, can you defer this until we contact all these other boards and give them the opportunity to come to our meeting if they have anything that they need to say? Would you mind deferring it?
I don't mind deferring it. I mean,
I just think it'd be only fair to allow the other boards, this sewage board 1 been knowing about it for a month now, but I think we ought to give these other boards the opportunity to come speak.
I'm good with that. I've got one thing I want to say if I can about all this.
Mr. Chairman, there's only one other board. There's the other districts, parish runs, there's one other board, it's Bayou Vista, it's Mr. Melvin's district, and Sewer District 1 is the Country Club.
So we'll give them an opportunity to chime in.
I can let them know. I already spoke to number 1, but I can talk to the other one as well.
Okay, you need to address something further?
Yeah, I was going to answer what Mr. Melvin was talking about the sewer districts. Many of these sewer districts were created in the early 1960s. At that time, electricity was provided by LaPowerco, or Louisiana Power and Light, or LP&L, as you want to call it. Garbage was collected by the police jury in trucks, brought to landfills at Layton, owned by the parish, brought to landfill where the shooting range is on 182. Since in garbage, we have gone to Sweetie, which has morphed into IESI, which Progressive, now Waste Connection. Back when these sewer districts and stuff were created, telephones had wires, TVs did not.
What does this have to do with privatizing sewer? Seriously?
It's why I'm pushing for this, is to get the parish out of the sewer business.
Okay. So let's defer it till the 25th?
You gotta remove that motion, Dan, you gotta move his motion on the amendment.
You seconded the amendment? You remove your motion on the amendment? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes.
And the motion on the original? You remove yours on the original and defer to, what, April 25th? Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, deferred. Item number 25, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to repair the hump in the road on Highway 308 in front of East 119th Street, Ward 10, District 9, Galliano, Louisiana. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion?
Yeah, that's in front of Mr. LeBlanc's house. Every time he sees me, he asks me about it, but it's a highway problem.
Okay, so basically we were asking LADOT to address it. Mr. Bourgeois, you have some on this?
No.
All right, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Mr. Lafont. Number 26, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to repaint the road striping on Highway 308 and cut off Galliana, Golden Meadow, and Fourchon, Louisiana, as well as the remainder of Highway 308 from the northmost parish line of Lafourche Parish to the southernmost parish line of Lafourche Parish, and requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to reply with a written response of the status of this request. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion?
Yeah, we just voted on this a couple meetings ago, same exact thing.
Yeah, I just want to stiffen it up. I see they spraying lines in the northern part of the parish, but maybe they run out of paint before they got to the south.
So again, it's a resolution requesting that they attend to that. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 27, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to the legality of per diems paid to regular board commission members with corporate powers. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion?
Yeah, what is this really about?
I'm trying to remember myself.
That's why I asked. Is that for the sewer board mainly, or?
We got an opinion not too long ago. They killed per diems on a lot of boards several years ago.
1992?
And
yeah, but
there was only a few that were still getting paid, and it kind of came to light when they were asking for a raise. So you probably requested it because of that.
There's only, what, one or two boards in the parish that have corporate powers anymore, right? So it is legal for them to get paid per diem because they do have corporate power. So, yeah, I'll pull it. Item number 28, resolution requesting Thibodeau Police Department to investigate the missing tapes of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter Commission, which were housed within the vault of the Lafourche Parish Council's legislative branch in Thibodeau, Louisiana. Mr. Jones, will you remove the second on the last resolution that we pulled?
Yeah.
And Mr. Bourgeois removes his motion. All right. So this one's moved by Mr. Groh. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Discussion, Mr. Groh.
Yes, and I regret that we didn't do this earlier when we had the special meeting. Anytime something is compromised like this and we know immediately something needs to be done, I don't think we need to wait and come and wait for Michael Groh to put up a resolution or anybody else. You know, that if you're treating it like a crime scene, that's been jeopardized because so many people have gone through there, whether it be the DA's office or Miss Carlene or myself when I went check the vault out. This needs to be done immediately. That's my only hopes for the future if something like this comes up missing.
Thank you, Mr. Grow. Any more comments? We'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 29, resolution opposing Senate Bill number 61, sponsored by Senator Brett Allen. Is that how you say his name? Allen? Allen. It's moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? All right, let's move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 30, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to whether supplemental appropriations can transfer of appropriations require council approval to proceed, or can the administration proceed without coming before the council for approving. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Sposito.
Got an amendment.
You have an amendment? Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to add Andy, Louisiana Attorney General Office, after the district attorney.
You have it written, Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir. And at the end of the resolution, also like to add, is it allowable for the administration to take, move, transfer, so on, fund from a department that has been abolished by the Lafourche Parish Council into another fund, department, project, so on, without consent or approval of the Lafourche Parish Council.
Can we get a second on the amendment? Ms. Sposito seconds it. Any further discussion on the amended resolution? Being none, we're going to vote on the amendment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The amendment passes. Now we're going to vote on the resolution in its entirety as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 31, resolution appointing 2 members on the Fire Protection District number 8-C board. Moved by Ms. Sposito.
I need to pull that item.
You're pulling that?
Yes, sir.
Or deferring? Pull, okay. Number 32, resolution reappointing 1 member on the Fire Protection District number 8-A board. Moved by Ms. Sposito.
I'd like to nominate Michael Adams.
Can we get a second? Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Michael Adams. Number 32, resolution reappointing 1 member on the... Number 33, resolution reappointing 1 member on the Terrebonne Parish Fire Protection District number 5 board. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. And you're...
I'd like to appoint Mr. Edward Robichaux.
Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item 34, resolution appointing 1 member on the Fire Protection District number 4 board. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Who you got, Mr. Melvin?
Richard Bourgeois.
Richard Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Jerry Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 35, resolution appointing 1 member on the Fire Protection District number 7 board by Mr. Melvin.
Bruce Gotro.
Mr. Gotro, second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 36, resolution appointing 1 commissioner to represent the City of Thibodaux Police Department to the Lafourche Parish Children and Youth Planning Board. Moved by Mr. Grow. Who's your appointee?
Detective Ali Fauché.
All right. Can we get a second? Second. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 37, resolution rescinding resolution number 16-419 that accepted the low quote of Andrew Bodwell Building Contracting in the amount of $6,500 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement ordinance numbers 3895 and 4944 concerning the demolition of a condemned structure located at 516 Manchester Manor, Thibodaux, Louisiana 70301, assessment number 0052839000 within Lafourche Parish, and authorizing Parish President to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Lucy Sposito. Second by Bourgeois. Any discussion?
No, no,
Go ahead. Is that one that the people took care of before we got to it? Same issue? All right.
I just want to defer number 38, pull it, because I got an email this morning.
The one that we're on?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
37?
No, 38. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, we didn't vote
I
this
just-
one yet.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Any more discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Mr. Lorraine, pulling
I wanna pull
38?
38 because I got an email from Sherry Lucas. The service provider decided to include the free routers with the internet services.
Yes. So pulling, no deferring. Item number 39, resolution approving amendment number 4 to the contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Mosquito Control of Lafourche LLC and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Otan.
I just noticed, so the contract is for 5 years. What's the reason for 5 years? I mean, that puts it into the next administration. I just thought that was really nifty. Is there a reason for it? And I say that because I got a call 2 days ago from some guy that wanted to quote on mosquito spray, in which I told him has a company that does a great job. But 5 years seems a long time for us to decide is what I just want to bring up.
That's really a short period of time, 5 years. If you look at all the other contracts. Look at the garbage. Look at the cable,
Garbage is 4 years.
15 years.
4 years, garbage.
On that contract too, I think you saved about, they knocked off about 6% of the cost from what they said. So,
Okay. Mrs. Bosa?
I agree with Councilman Otan. 5 years is a long time on a contract.
Is that standard administration, anybody?
The garbage was 5 years. It started with the last administration 1 year before to this administration. It'll go over to the next administration. This was proposed by them to provide the Zika coverage and extend it. I think it extends it 2 years by providing a reduction in cost and adding the Zika coverage. And in return, they would get a couple of additional years on the contract. And that was the proposal, and we agreed, and it's for y'all to decide if that's what you want to do. It's a savings, it's a better program, and it is 5 years, but you're not going to get, if you do it for 1 year, it's going to be very expensive. I mean, they have a capital investment and everything, but it's y'all prerogative.
All right, Mr. Otan?
Yeah, understood. And the 5 years begins at the end of this year. So it's a continuous. Quick question, though, Tom, is do we have a way out of the contract if something, I mean, just out of curiosity?
Almost all the contracts have a way out, and almost all, and y'all can void them. The parish president can recommend void them. Almost all, even solid waste, I believe. There's, you get them, and they're not doing their job, or there's some discrepancies. You about got a way to get out of them.
All right, Mr. LaFont, you have something else? All right, well, Ms. Posito?
Did protocol have to change with the Zika virus? Did that have to change this next contract, or is it in effect now? It's Zika, right? Or
They're adding it now because when you implement the Zika protocol, let's say, normally we'll get reimbursed for it. Like an emergency situation, normally we'll get reimbursed for it. So they included it, and it's no cost to us. So, I mean, that was.
It's just an added benefit that they've given the parish for extending them for 5 years.
That they didn't have before.
Okay.
Well, just extending it a couple of years, not 5, but making it 5. I think they had a couple of 3 though.
All right, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 40, resolution approving an agreement between South Central Planning and Development Commission for professional management services with a grant from the Economic Development Administration, EDA, entitled Lafourche Parish Airport Access Corridor, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion? Being none, move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 41, resolution approving an agreement for the program offered by the State of Louisiana Department of Education in order to carry out the purpose of Section 17 of the National School Lunch Act as amended and the regulations governing the Child and Audit Care Food Program, CACFP, issued thereunder 7 CFR Part 226 and Section 3 of the Child Nutrition Act of 1966 as amended, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 42, resolution asking if the Lafourche Parish Council would be in support of administration advertising to get quotes for the hiring of a lobbyist to represent Lafourche Parish and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Grow. Second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Nay.
I got one question. Michael, real quick, the way it's written, it just kind of confusing. Resolution asking if the Lafourche Parish Council would be in support. Wouldn't it be resolution asking the Lafourche Parish Council to support?
Well,
If
I
could say-
questioned when they
I could
asked
say
me to
yes or
sponsor.
no, but that doesn't mean anything.
The vote doesn't mean anything. They're going to advertise. They just want to make sure we hire somebody that we're willing to hire a lobbyist. It depends on who they bring up if we think we should vote them in. So it is kind of, I don't know if it's an olive branch gesture, but they just want to know that we're going to support hiring a lobbyist, or they're not going to waste the money on going after it. I know from reading the minutes of the last meeting, Mr. Perlew had mentioned that he thought that it may be good to have the PIO officer act as the as a lobbyist. I don't think we can do that with a civil service job. You're not supposed to really get involved in political type stuff or spend your time in Baton Rouge. It's one of the good things about being in civil service, I guess. I don't know. I think we need a lobbyist. I think we should have kept the last one. I've been vocal about that. Let's just vote and see if they're going to advertise for it.
And I got another question, Mr. Chairman. Don't we have a lobbyist? I think we got D. Richard. We got Jerry Gisclair. We got Norby Chabert. Hopefully we'll have Jerry Jones. What do we vote for these guys for?
Because we got $40-some thousand to throw away.
You know, I don't believe in lobbyists. I think they're the epitome of government. I think the people speak and tell you what you want when you run for that position. And I think our local delegation and delegation next door, that some of them coming to this parish, I think they ought to be our lobbyists. I think we got 9 lobbyists right here, 10. Counting Mr. Jim, we got 10 lobbyists right here. We got lobbyists out there. All these people could call their state reps and call them up. I think we have enough lobbyists.
Mr. Lorraine.
I think Jerry's missing the boat, Jerry. A lobbyist is not to lobby your representative and your senator. It's to talk to them to see what they would like to have. And the lobbyist is going to go lobby all the representatives and senators from North Louisiana and Central Louisiana to try and get that stuff. I'm the only one up here that could probably go to Baton Rouge every day, and I'm not going to go because I'm retired. We had a lobbyist. We got rid of the lobbyist. It was probably the best one we ever had. That's the only one we ever had.
Only one we ever had.
And if you don't think you need a lobbyist, you watch Senate Bill 61 what's going to happen. And you watch what Terrebonne Parish is going to get this session, and you watch what Lafourche Parish is going to get. I can tell you what Lafourche Parish is going to get. You're going to get something at Nichols. South Lafourche Levy District is going to get something. Port Commission going to get something in the North Lafourche Levy District. And you know what the rest is going to get? Very little. Very little. And if y'all think y'all can lobby, well, my golly, go lobby. Let's see what they're going to tell you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just had a lobbyist that just walk in the door. We had one working right here for the parish. He was turning loose, and he did a darn good job. The lobbyists, you said Terrebonne gonna get this, we gonna get that. We paid 42,000, that's what we got. Terrebonne got it, and we got that. So, last parish presidents, they did their own lobbyists. This we could do the same.
All right, Mr. LaFont.
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Jones just said. We had a lobbyist last year. I saw what Terrebonne Parish got, and I saw what Lafourche ended up with.
All right, we're going to move this thing to a vote. This is to ask the administration to hire a lobbyist. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay. Hands up if you oppose. 4, passes 5-4. Just to ask them to look into it. All right, number 43, resolution approving a use of school facilities request between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish School Board for the use of Lockport Middle School for the Lafourche Parish Recreation Summer Programs and authorizing Parish President to sign, execute, and administer said agreements and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam, second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 44, resolution approving a use of school facilities request between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish School Board for the use of Lockport Middle School for the Lafourche Parish Recreation Volleyball Program and authorizing the Parish President to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. That's right. Number 45, resolution ratifying the reappointment of Barry Uze to represent Louisiana State University on the Lafourche Parish Civil Service Board. Moved by someone, Mr. Otam, and second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 8-0-0-1. Number 46, resolution approving amendment number 6 to the contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Correct Health Lafourche LLC for the comprehensive inmate health care services at Lafourche Parish Detention Center and authorizing the Parish President to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Grow, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Number 47, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the application for funding for the project entitled Lockport Company Canal South Bank Levee Lift and authorizing the Parish President to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-1. Number 48, resolution accepting a low quote of E.J. Bro Contractors LLC in the amount of $25,500 for the purchase and installation of a new wastewater treatment plant at the Raceland Recreation Center, project code 17020, and authorizing the Parish President to sign, execute, and administer any and all set relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 49, resolution requesting that the North Lafourche Levee District support the request of the administration of Lafourche Parish Government to the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority CPRA Board to add the community gains to the CPRA Master Plan and authorizing the Parish President to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. I have a question. No. I'm wondering why Mr. Lorraine was selected to sponsor this and not the person that represents Gaines. Anyone in the administration? What?
I requested to sponsor it because I read a letter to the editor in the Gazette by some bro fella that they were left out, and I made the CPRA meetings and they never voted on it yet, and Mr. Jimmy serves on that board, and I think whenever they're going to bring it up for the master drainage study, that he should post an amendment opposing leaving out Gaines, and I'm sure that's what he's going to do. Then it's going to be up to the board. And that's some more boards that I attend, meetings that I attend. That's why I know what's going on with CPR.
Most of us have a job, though, Daniel. We can't go to every board
I had a
meeting.
job at one time.
But I understand your point, but I'm already in discussion with North Lafourche Levy
Well,
District,
do what
Mr.
you gotta
Bourgeois,
do.
and
You
we're
wanna
taking
shoot
care
down
of
the
this.
resolution?
We're taking care of this already. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, my only question is, should we perhaps amend it, Daniel? I talked to some of the guys on that same board. Matter of fact, I did last week. Some of the engineers came to me, asking me for some input on my property anyway, and their gut feeling is that Gaines is not going to happen for whatever reason. So the only thing I'm asking is, should we amend it and ask the North Lafourche Levy District, if not, that they pursue some kind of protection for Gaines themselves? I mean, that's what I would hope, that if it is going to be ultimately that, you know, they're going to be left out, or they may be added 20 years from now, that I think North Lafourche Levy District should really make a really big effort to try to address Gaines now, if you follow me.
This is just to protect it, and the reason why I put it on is when I read the letter to the editor, it got my attention, and I made the CPRA meetings, so I just put it on. Now, if y'all want to vote against it, have at it. I'm not pulling it.
Okay, apparently you didn't understand what I was telling you, because I didn't tell you to pull it. I said it didn't sound it was very favorable, so I think that we should ask for support from North Lafourche Levy District that they jump on that.
All right, let's move it to Ms. Posey.
Mr. Jimmy, weren't you going to do this anyway, regardless of the resolution? Were you planning to address the Gaines community?
We've been working on with the North Lafourche Levy District, Dwayne and I, but a resolution would sure help. And also, we send this to Johnny Bradbury, and the board will see the support that we get from the council, and that may sway the reason Mr. Bradbury is looking into it, has been looking into it, why they were left out. We're going to find out soon. I just found out about it about maybe six months ago, and we've been working on it ever since.
So you feel like a resolution will...
Well, definitely. You get the support of the, if y'all don't want to do it, don't do it. But I mean, it'd be nice to have a unanimous and support the people of Gaines. I mean, after all, they need not to be left out if we can help it, or make sure, like one of them said, to make sure that we get North Lafourche to better their levees so they don't get drowned during a hurricane. And it's forming kind of I looked at it, it's forming kind of a funnel, and it puts them very exposed at a hurricane. So that's my argument, and we're going to live with that, and with this resolution, I think it would help.
Why are we even discussing this? I mean, this is just like to put an extra little thing like a rah-rah, let's get behind it, just like we got behind being against OTAN.
Michael, you want me to start sponsoring everything in your district? That
Why
was
would you
my
have your feeling-
point, sir. That's why I brought it up to...
Well, what were you doing at Fouchon the other day in my district?
Listen, it's not about a fight. That's what all I'm saying is, on...
You out of order, sir.
You out of order.
Turn your mic off.
I ain't turning it off.
I understand what Mr. Otan's saying. I think we should add something or do a separate deal with the with North Lafourche. I think anything we can add to it is a good thing. You know, I don't get offended if somebody sponsors somebody. It's not. Let's move this parish along. This is just getting behind.
All right, let's move
not
to a
leaving
vote.
out Gaines.
All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. All right, Ms. Lucy, would you like to take care of section N?
Public hearings and public meeting, number 50, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47, 1705B, that a public meeting of the Lafourche Parish Government will be held at regular meeting place, the council chambers of Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23, 2017, at 6 p.m. to consider the adoption of renewed millage rates, proposed by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Do we have to go to public? Any discussion? Number 51, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47, 1705B, that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government criminal tax will be held at its regular meeting place, the council chambers of the Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional and increased millage rates without further vote or approval, or adopting the adjusted millage rates without further vote or approval, or adopting it adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year for the increased millage is $34,537.04, and the amount of increase in tax attributable to the millage increase is $4,036.80. Proposed by Councilman Lorraine. Number 42, notice is hereby, what's that?
Got a question real quick before you proceed. We're gonna raise, is this saying we're gonna raise millage taxes on the public without going to the voters? If so, I can't see that happening. Man, look.
It's announcing a public hearing and meeting. That's all it's doing right now, Jerry.
So they're gonna do a hearing on this?
Yes.
And I can't believe anybody's thinking about raising taxes on the poor people of Lafourche Parish right now.
Number 52, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47-1705B that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Road District Number 1 will be held at its regular meeting place, the council chambers of the Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional and increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year for the increased millage is $4,756,634.36, and the amount of increase in tax attributable to the millage increase is $192,576,29 by Councilman Lorraine. I'm having a contact issue. Can someone else?
I'll read. If you don't
Go
mind.
ahead, Jerry.
What number we were on again, Lucy?
53 is up.
53, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 20cc of Louisiana Constitutional and Revised Statute 47-17505B that the public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Recreation District Number 11 will be held at its regular meeting, the council chamber of Lafourche Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rate after assessment and rolling forward the rate not exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year for the increased millage is $151,188.44, and the amount increase in the tax attributed to the millage increase is $29,769.40. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 54, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and Revised Statute 47-17005B, that's a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Special Service District Number 1 will be held at its regular meeting place, the council chamber of Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart building, 4876 Matthews Highway 1, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting adjustment millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward the rate not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in next year's from the increased millage is $1,734,574.10. The amount of increase in the tax attributed to the millage increase is $173,457.40. Notice, moved by Mr. Lorraine. 55, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and Revised Statute 47-17005B that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government General Alimony will be held at its regular meeting place, the council chamber of Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting adjusted millage rates after reassessment rolling forward to rate not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in next year from the increased millage is $2,732,280.59. The amount of increase in tax attributable to the millage increase is $111,729.27. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 56, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution, revised Statute 471705B, and the public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Drainage, Health, and Library will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber, Matthews Government Complex, 01 Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and roll it forward to the rates not to exceed prior year maximum. The estimated amount of the tax revenue to be collected next year from the increased millage is $5,674,070.71. And the amount increase is attributable to the millage increase of $243,932.01. Moved by Lorraine.
All right, Section O, questions for the administration, Session 2. Any questions? Being none, Section P, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions.
I just got one quick thing.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Mike, I know you discussed earlier why we were even discussing it. I think even sometimes when things are, we all feel that we want to vote something, I think discussion needs to be had. So just to answer that question.
Yeah, I apologize for wording it that way. I was just saying, you know, it was in response to discussing why something was sponsored. He gave the answer as to why it was sponsored. If people weren't fighting so much in this council, maybe he'd call and they could have co-sponsored together, but I doubt he'd make that call with the way things are going. That's what I meant.
I just feel that, you know, when nobody calls you in your district on something, I think, you know, I sponsor some things in Lorraine's district. Lorraine sponsors some things in my district, but one thing we got is a gentleman's agreement. He calls me, I call him. And I wouldn't do it without calling him. So I think that's just the right thing to do, and I think Mr. Lorraine agrees with me on that.
All right, moving along, Section P, Section Q, any further discussion on any items? Being none, can we get a motion to adjourn? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Ms. Esposito. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 9-0. 7:44.